Hey, it's the Bennington Show. We have a tough time running these boards. How often does that come up that we'll just pop into something new or whatever? It's fun. It's Monday on the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I'm Ron Bennington. We started off with a little Hendrix because there is a yet another post-death Jimi Hendrix album out. He's just so prolific, even in the afterlife. He just keeps right on writing. This is Both Sides of the Sky, available in stores and online. Eddie Kramer, the great engineer who engineered Zeppelin, I believe the Doors. I don't know whether he did the Doors or not. But Traffic,
Yeah.
Hendrix, the list goes on and on. He's going to come in and talk about some of these songs while they were happening.
Nice. Very cool.
Because he never knew not only what Hendrix was going to do, but who Hendrix would bring in with him. So, like, Stephen Stills is on this album and people like that because they just happen to be there.
Hendrix is one of those people where anytime someone says a story about, like, Hendrix as a real person, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I know.
Hendrix is like this idea. He's like on a different wavelength. I can't even believe he was real.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So that's happening later in the show today. Now, Jen. So Gail says, I always love Jen's makeup, but it's really stunning today. And then I say to her, guess why? We're doing an unmasked today after the show. And Jen is in love with both.
Both guests are of interest to her.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did not make that connection. I was like, Jen looks really stunning today. I mean, I don't know, those eyebrows on fleek. Do we still say that? I doubt it.
Now, Che and Colin Jost, but Jost is still with a big time celebrity, right?
Yeah, he's a Scarlet.
I wasn't going to say that, but okay. And I think Che just picked up a waitress at a club. And no, I don't know. I don't know anything about Che's love life.
Jen, that doesn't sound too serious.
No. I always have the feeling that Che's not too serious, but that's just my own weird judgment.
You think he's just kind of like flows with it kind of dude?
Yeah. But Joe seems like, I need a nice celebrity to be with, Move my stuff up.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's going to be such a fun unmasked. If you can make these unmasked, you should do it because it's amazing. And, now we got the weekend update guys just coming in talking about SNL.
And it's so it really is like the coolest, most intimate, fun thing. And we're all together in this room. And it's just always the best conversations and we have a great time.
Yeah, you're sitting like 5-10 feet away from these guys and gals.
Mm-hmm.
Woke.
Oh my God. You were almost not so woke for a second.
Time's up. I was talking to a little pregnant lady at the show the other night. And she's going to have a boy. And I just yelled, time's up at her. Like it's her fault. Time's up. And then I says, the second he's born, and just scream in his face.
Time's up, dude.
We're not putting up with this anymore.
Get in line.
All right? Get a hold of that penis of yours. I'm waiting for the time's up stuff here's an interesting thing, Chris. So there was a young guy from Costa Rica doing comedy the other night, and he mentioned that he and his people are from Costa Rica. 4 different tables went fucking crazy clapping.
Wow. Really?
Started whipping off names of towns in Costa Rica. I'm like, why don't I have Chris here? Then I'm like, oh, I know. He doesn't give a fuck about me or the stand-up.
That's true.
He stood, even when the last time he came, see me do stand-up, he stood outside the door.
He's trying to be too cool.
I love you, and I love your stand-up, and I support everything you do.
Really? Then you were there for the Costa Rica show.
I was not there for the Costa Rica show.
Oh, you mean you support me from afar, like you do African charities?
No, I support you
like
much
you
more.
support it in theory,
right?
But
than
not
any African charity.
I'd rather hang out with the people from Black Panther than you. And what is it, Manicotti? Is that their hometown?
Wakanda.
Isn't that in Wisconsin? Just a
Kind of
nice,
Wisconsin.
yeah, it's like a nice ice fishing village.
Oh yeah.
Wakanda. You got to take that road all the way up to Wakanda. A lot of colored folks there in Wakanda. Are you experienced? I don't know if there's anybody I like more than Jimi Hendrix.
Not one other living human.
He's
Living or dead, I meant to say.
Yes, he's not living. I don't want to break the news to you right now.
We just came out with an album.
You know what? I changed my mind. Ivanka Trump. That's it.
It was quick.
I like Ivanka because she's classy.
She is so classy. She's a little bougie, but I like it.
I don't know what that means.
Bourgeois.
Oh, okay. All right, we're dropping it down the bougie. Hear that, y'all? We're contracting words as fast as we can these days. Are you experienced? Felt like I wanted to do acid while that song was on. Jen, you ever do acid?
No.
I'm gonna fucking dose you today during the show.
Oh my
So
God.
you say crazy shit. Jen, I want you, from the time they get here on, to stick to those guys and make them feel at home.
Okay.
I'm bringing Rex's lunch.
I need you to be in the green room with them, sing to their needs.
Absolutely.
Whatever those needs may be.
Time's up.
Oh, yeah. But she's the stalker in this case.
You keep forgetting about the time.
I know. Well, I jumped ahead. You know what I mean? Like when I was napping, time jumped ahead. Yeah, like what time is it really now? 11 or 1?
11?
Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, it's 11.
Yeah, 11.
Now, I saw this. Florida says this is their last time jumping.
Yes, they say they're not going to fall back. They're going to stay jumped. They're going to stay in daylight savings time.
All right.
So that there is going to be Florida time. They're going to be the only people on the East Coast
It's hilarious. And I
living
hope
Florida time.
I hope they fucking keep it up, and I hope they say it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Like all their dumb shit. Are you experienced? Hey, Alan. Alan, what's up?
Hey, Ben and Tense, how are you guys?
Cool, man.
Hey, so unlike Chris Stanley, I would like to see you performing. I'm going to be up there Wednesday night. Are you going to be out at any of the clubs?
Wednesday night. Let me check over my look. Chris is acting like he's checking his schedule, and he's not. He has no schedule for me. No, I'll tell you. Unlike Chris, I know where I'll be. I believe if you stay until Friday. No, Alan. Where do you live, by the way?
In Louisville, Kentucky. I'm up there quite a bit. I haven't seen you. I usually go down to the cellar, and it sounds like you usually go to the stand. So
yeah,
I was just checking.
I'm
So
a stand man.
I'll be
Hey,
back.
y'all,
I'll be
prepare
back.
yourself for the NYC stand man. All right, talk to you then. I met some people the other night that told me they had met me 26 years ago in Florida.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
At a gig or?
Yeah, I was doing something at Universal Studios, and
I was there.
they won tickets. Yeah, they won tickets and came in. Yeah, you were going on the rides.
Yeah.
That was the thing when you were little. We would be able to do gigs at Disney and Universal. I don't know whether you know this. That's back when we were macing each other all the time and thinking
Yeah.
it was comedy. Pre-Jackass, just so everyone knows. And so we took somebody outside and maced them in the park because we were in the park at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then the mace lingered and they didn't open up the doors to the park because they didn't want people to walk through the mace.
Oh, God, yeah. It stuff sticks around.
We didn't know it. We just thought it would go into the air. So, like, the park opened up like 15 or 20 minutes later with everybody going, what happened? Some shock jocks are in here. They jocked and shocked around until everything was fucked up.
I want a refund then.
Hey, Sean, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Ronnie B.
Hey, man.
So from now on, it's going to be fall backward, spring Florida.
Yeah, they're gonna. Why would they stay in spring? Why would they stay in daylight saving?
I think, okay, I don't know what the benefit is, but I know that people think it's an outdated concept because the idea was doing it for farming, right?
We get all that, but why not stay in the standard time and say we're not going to jump ahead with you? They just said we prefer the jump ahead time.
Yeah, I don't know why that's the time that they're going to stick with.
Because they're fucking Florida and they're all methed up before they make any decisions. A for rock god, A for rock god. And an 18-year-old can't even buy a fucking automatic weapon down there anymore.
No, I mean, like how this bill was passed, and it was passed pretty with, very little opposition.
Oh, no, they had like 8 hours. See, here's what happened with the bill. They've pissed off both sides. A, you got to wait until you're 21 to get the automatic weapons. And then B, they're giving guns to teachers. So both sides are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you,
happy.
Florida? Turn your clocks with everyone else.
But the daylight savings time bill passed handedly. It was like ridiculous. And then they were like, why is this what we're all agreeing on?
They're on the wrong thing. They should stick with standard, and then they could feel above everybody. Jen, did you have your eyebrows done professionally?
Yes.
It looks good.
Thank you.
Does that hurt?
It hurt a lot, actually. It hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think men do anything to themselves that hurts.
Is there any painful beauty regimen? Because pretty much all of them suck. For us.
A painful beauty regimen for a man is taking a shower. Like, do I have to?
Oh, no. I'll be wet.
I don't think I smell bad. Very well-known person came in here. I'll just say in a couple of weeks, in the last few weeks, so I won't limit it down. And he goes like this. Do I smell? Do I stink? And we're like, no, you smell good. And he goes, because I've been wearing this shirt for a few days in a row. And it's good because over the last couple of weeks, we have a lot of people who look like they stink. All right, Randy, Tampa, what's up, buddy?
Hey, so it's pretty complicated with the Florida time change. Like, the legislature passed it, and the governor still hasn't signed it, but when he does, that doesn't mean it happens. That means Congress, like the federal government, has to create basically a law that says Florida can be in its own thing.
It ain't going to happen.
Which they did for Arizona and Hawaii, they don't change time. But they're always in standard time. They don't do daylight savings. Florida wants to be in daylight savings all the time, which means essentially that they would be not in the Eastern time zone, but actually the Atlantic time zone, which is like the Maritime provinces and Puerto Rico and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're saying, like, so I don't know if, like, they're going to, Congress is going to let Florida do that, because basically Florida's jumping ship and saying we're going to be in a different time zone all the time. New England wants to do it because the sun sets there at 3:30, in the winter.
I think everybody wants to stick to something and just stop fucking around. And let me just tell you right now. Do we need a Pacific time zone? Why don't we just say American time zone? And then they're going like this. Well, we start work later here. You know what I mean? We're not 9 to 5. You know what I mean? We're noon to 8. That's what we do it. Working noon to 8.
I lived in New England, and I lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and that's like the same time zone, but it's like one gets an hour more light because it's at the opposite end of the time zone. It's almost central, and so it's like everybody's fucked all the time. But the Florida thing might not happen.
All right, thanks. Hey, you know what I want to do? Can we get a hold of Christine today? Because Skankfest is happening, and the announcement was to take place at midnight last night. But if you can see, Ari Shafir jumped ahead. It's up on the iBang as Ari Shafir ruins Skankfest 2018 announcement. And read his actual tweet here. Where is it? All right. Here's what it says. It says, I'm super excited to be the first one to announce that 2018 Skankfest is July 14th and 15th in Brooklyn. Louis J. Gomez wanted to announce it himself at midnight, which is the main reason I'm doing it now, because fuck Louis. It's a great honor for me and not for Louis. So, did she answer, Chris?
Checking now.
Yep. Checking now. I love when you do that. It's my favorite thing about you. Chris spent the entire weekend in wine country.
Really?
What, in California this time, or
Napa.
Napa is how he spends the weekend too. Sleeping with a bottle of wine. Napping with wine. Dan, what's happening down there in Florida, buddy? Dan, did we lose you?
Matt.
Oh, Matt.
Matt in Florida.
Matt in Florida, gang. Matt, not Dan. Matt.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, Florida's the sunshine state. So if you switch to daylight savings time, you get an extra hour at night. So when you come home from work, it's not as dark.
Yeah, but it just doesn't matter. The sun is setting when the sun sets.
I mean, I do.
Why wouldn't they just change work hours?
I do prefer.
I don't know.
I do prefer this time because of to get more light. Like that's why I don't mind
But you're not getting more light. For the hours that you work, you're not getting any more light than you would, no matter what time it said it was.
So you think that what should happen is that you shift your day based on the sun, as opposed to
you don't even need to shift your day. You have plenty of leeway any way at all that you want it. People get caught up as if the clock was a real thing. It's just everybody saying this is what time we'll call it. But cavemen did not get up and go, I wonder what fucking time it is right now. They just woke up when they woke up and the sun went down. They're like, oh shit, we better fucking pull back a bit. There's some wolves coming out. Nothing changes at all.
Right.
It's just this thing of, can you believe it's 6 o'clock and it's dark already? It's even no matter what you switched it to, it still would be dark at that moment.
Right.
This is all fucking made up.
But isn't there, doesn't it happen because you do get more darkness because of the sunlight?
Yes, you are
by the season.
Right. We're not saying this is what time the sun sets. The sun sets and rises when it does.
Right.
One of the things in suburban areas why they like this is because they didn't want kids going to the bus stop in the dark. Right. But no one brings that up because they're like, I like to be home for 2 hours before my TV shows come on. It's not appointment fucking viewing anymore, folks. What's going on with Christine?
No answer.
Oh, Jesus Christ. She's not taking any questions. I'm just wondering if she and Lewis are mad. Can you try Lewis?
Trying Lewis.
Because I heard a rumor that, everyone thinks this is hilarious that Ari did it, but I heard a rumor that they were mad for real. Curtis, what's up?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? Daylight savings, our modern daylight savings, started back in World War I when Kaiser Wilhelm, on the side that lost, Germany, did it for fuel savings purposes, which doesn't apply today. And then we have all these stats and statistics with going back and forth, like today's one of the days where we have the highest amount of heart attacks and the most car accidents, all these things.
Because people are sleepy?
Probably. Because
it's a fucking hour, guys. Pull your shit together.
Right. It's just an hour, but for somehow, people fly from Iowa to Chicago and claim they have jet lag, so go figure.
Well, I could get jet lag sometimes just from flying in the same thing. It dehydrates you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It isn't that the time is different.
Yeah, it's more like what the travel does to you. And I honestly think that there is something like just the air and everything. You're dehydrated, the air pressure, it's exhausting. You're your muscles are tense.
I can't believe how people are like, I have to have my dinner plans at my restaurant at 8 o'clock. I don't want to eat before or after. And I'm like, why are you sticking to that? What's the fucking big deal? Who cares if you eat at 6 or 10?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this whole deal? You're paying too much attention to the clock.
Just eat when you're hungry anyway.
Yes. Eat when you're hungry. Ethan in Virginia. Ethan, what's up?
Hey, Ron and B. So I don't know if you know this, but Virginia is the state for lovers. So we're trying to get it changed so everybody gets 2 lovers.
Why? You can say that on the air, Chris. You don't have to type it to me.
Oh, Luis Gomez's phone's going straight to voicemail.
You know why? These people sleep during the daytime.
Yeah, these are vampires.
They may not never get home. Why go to college? Why stay in night school? I wonder why Virginia became the Virginias for Lovers. I believe it has been throughout my whole conscious lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know where the origin of why they chose that as their slogan.
I guess they were trying to get people to honeymoon in Virginia Beach.
Maybe, yeah.
But they should have said Virginia Beach. And then you can't
the
fuck
whole
them.
state.
Yeah, you can't fuck on the beach there anyway.
Plus, I kind of think they should have spelled it phonetically as lovers. Virginia's for lovers.
You know, there's only one beach in the United States that you can fuck on.
What is it?
Daytona. They got no worries, man. Come down for bike week. Gang bang yourself to death.
I mean, you will have to watch out for cars and bikes on the beach while you're having sex, but it's a little gasoline smelling.
Nothing like lying on the beach and having a car run over you, and I've seen it happen to people before.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, you can drive down the beach. Obviously, you're going to have fucking people get hit when they're running. You know what I mean? Like a kid is chasing a fucking ball.
It's nuts. I don't know why it's allowed. It's so
great,
nuts.
Man.
It's so crazy.
It's fucking so fun to park on the beach, get out, and, you keep a cooler in the car. I don't know why you can't drive on every beach. I wouldn't even mind if every beach in America looked like a parking lot. You could just park right up next to it. Then you could have like little ladders that go down like a pool. Why go to college? Hey, Rich in Jersey, what's up?
Yeah, good morning or afternoon.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever hear about? I was up looking online for a new game, and I saw something called Comedy Night. It's on Steam system. It's like a chat room thing where if you got a microphone, you make an avatar, and then you go in these chat rooms around the world and do comedy routines, and people get to judge you, and then you can judge people that are on stage doing their routines.
So, are you? We're looking at this Comedy Night.
Yeah, I guess you're sitting in your house with a microphone, and you just get up and do a routine, and people rate you.
All right, let's see.
Let's see. This looks like it's like.
Looks like Schubert's doing 15.
The video's buffering.
It says there's a lot of racism on there.
There's a lot of racism everywhere on the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I guess that just means there are a lot of. It's just a lot of racism.
Yeah.
People are normally just quiet about it.
But one of the replies says if you go into like the Japan ones, they're polite and everything, and they rate you for your routine, not for making dirty jokes and stuff.
All right, we'll take a look at this. You got
All right, this is audio of Comedy Night.
Appreciate that.
It's above average. It's all giving
party.
You got a party mouth.
You have a watermelon on your head.
Sweat ball.
They're just heckling.
Oh, you can heckle too.
Stick your finger in your belly button.
I have lost control of my hands. I'm halfway to a stroke.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite what?
Oh, this is terrible.
Oh my God.
This is just the heckling video.
Of course, the bigger the better.
Should get rated on your heckles.
I've been thinking about this for a while.
This guy's good.
It's fucking dead.
Yeah.
It's like an open mic.
Same here. You ever think about it though?
Yeah.
You ever think about it?
Yeah.
So I've been thinking.
All right, look, stop right here. We got to send this to Crazy Jen.
This will be perfect for her.
This will be perfect.
This
she wants
is her
to do stand up, and all you need to do is do anything in the room, and her attention will be drawn to that.
And then we can all sign up for it.
I
won't
wanted
heckle.
Crazy Jen to do Comedy 101. We haven't done a Comedy 101 in like a half a year.
I know.
We haven't done street jokes in that long. Who's the producer of this show?
That would be me.
Have you been in a coma?
I'm alive.
You never come up with the ideas. You just you want to be the guy who's does what he's told, right?
I like to come up with ideas as well. I also think I can. I do what I'm told. Haven't had one in a while. I'll be honest with you right now.
Let's go back as far as you want.
Jesus
Give me a Chris Stanley idea for the show.
For the Tito's interview segment was my idea. I came up with that for Tito's.
What do you mean the Tito's interview segment?
When we innovators of entertainment.
That was you?
Your idea.
I don't think
exactly
it was.
whose idea it was.
It was definitely my idea.
That was a sales-driven idea.
No, they said they wanted ideas, and I gave them that. I ran it by everyone, and then we gave it to them. And
All right, I'm going to let you have it then.
I don't know if it's true, though. It doesn't sound like a Chris idea.
Innovators of entertainment. How would that ever be Chris's idea?
It just doesn't seem like something Chris would say.
He knows that he could say that. No one else would want to take
I know, that's not really what it is.
That's hilarious. All right, you're the innovator of entertainment.
Thanks.
Why haven't you done anything with it yet? Since it's such a great one.
that I have to get back to work on.
My
That's
God.
bad. That was not good.
Fire, burn. Look at Jen is just trying not to ruin her pretty ice.
I know. She's like, no. She's like, don't make me laugh. Don't like mess up my face. I hope you're hydrating. She's not going to drink because she doesn't want to ruin her lipstick.
Good idea. From the second they come in to the second they leave, I need you to be with them.
Okay.
I can tell her that because that's what she wants to do anyway.
Yeah.
Now, why do you love these guys? Because they're
I mean,
young.
they're very good-looking guys.
Yes, they're
very
attractive.
charming. You know, they're funny. I mean, they have.
Why
it all.
would that
They
come
got
in
everything
third?
going.
That would crush me. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to hear. They want to hear. If you're a comedian, you want to hear funny first. All right. What's a question that you would like me to ask them? I'm going to give you one.
You know, what's their type?
Oh my God. I have done so many unmasked, and I've never once
I hope you work it in.
said, "What's your type?" Actually, I even think that this is my opinion. I've always thought it was creepy to have a night, a type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said night because I looked up at the phones and somebody was bringing up comedy night, and I'm just, I'm gonna admit it. I'm not on my game today. I might even cancel this unmasked.
Oh my God, Jen, your eyebrows.
Wait, let me just say this for everyone that's driving in. I'm not canceling. I just said night by mistake and said type. But don't you think if you have a type, it's basically a fetish? It's
Yes.
a generalized fetish.
Well, it's interesting because I've had this conversation before because there are different people that I dated in my past that either I was somebody who I looked and seemed nothing like the people they dated, and I've also dated someone who, when I went back and saw ex-girlfriends before me and current girlfriends, they're very similar type looking, height, personality. It's pretty strange. And then I go, I don't know which one I find weirder, and I think that one's weirder. I think it's weirder to look like all of your
Yes,
your
that's
current.
very weird to me.
Yeah.
Vito, I want you to look up on your Google machine and find out if anyone has dated both me and John Kruk. And if they have, I want them to send them.
And then just say to them, what the Kruk?
Dude, wouldn't that be the best bachelor ever if you just had a bunch of dudes that looked alike and they're all just sitting there like, what the fuck? Are you guys noticing?
It's kind of strange.
I wonder if anyone, because I know people have dated sisters, right?
Yeah.
Break up with one sister, go with the other. But has anyone ever broke up with one twin and then went out with the other twin? Because that would just let you know it's just straight personality based.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so weird. That would be really weird. Yeah, I think I think it's stranger to find out that the person you're seeing has a type and you're it than go, you know what, I never thought I was into someone like you,
Right.
but you're so different.
This is how Chris is so different with his dating. Because he's dated a girl, broke up with her, and then dated her boyfriend. And that's
Interesting.
like,
That's strange. I've never even heard of that before.
I liked it though.
But it's 2018.
Is
You
it?
know what I mean? Things
this
are
fucking
fluid
daylight
and
saving
stuff.
time has blown my mind. I wouldn't even normally be here by now. I'm not going to ask you which one you like better. This whole thing makes me
I think I know
with her.
though, but I won't say it.
I'll just say I know which one she has a better shot with because of the ScarJo thing. No one's going to say, ScarJo, I can't see you anymore. I'm dating a producer from the Bennington show on Sirius XM.
Yeah, but you haven't seen her eyebrows. I mean,
man, they ain't going to stay that way though. You know what I mean? They're going to go back to looking like two tumbleweeds. When you just did that, when you pounded the thing like that,
I pounded my chair.
Look at the computer screen. It
Oh
went
my
out.
God, I pounded the arm of my chair.
I know. This is very sensitive material here.
Oh my God. By the way, you just made Jen laugh so hard at what you said, and then I just saw her fan her face.
Good.
Make sure this is set.
There was a woman, like, I'm doing a set at the stand a couple weeks ago, and I look over and she's like, she's got the menu, and I'm like, this is not a Negro church in the 1930s. There is no reason for this. I don't know why everyone's paying attention to this stupid little fucking election in some area of Pennsylvania I never heard of before. Trump went there. He was hilarious the other night, though, when he did the impression of what other presidents look like. And it's like when Richard Pryor made fun of white people.
It's so ridiculous.
Dude, did you see that thing where Richard Pryor's son went to the Apollo show and they booed him?
No, I didn't see. Why was he booed?
They fuck with you at the Apollo. You know what I mean? Like, the
Right.
Apollo demands constant excellence. And I'm like, doesn't the fact that he's Richard Pryor's son carry anything?
Just give him a listen at
Yeah.
least.
What's the name of that? Is it Live at the Apollo? Is it
Live at the Apollo.
Evening at the Apollo?
Showtime at the Apollo.
Showtime at the Apollo. Thank you. A fucking Sandman came out there. And Steve, that's just another show Steve Harvey does now. You got to have volume for it to work, Chris.
I'm queuing it up. There we go. It's buffering.
Okay, Buffy. Buffering the vampire.
Everybody here in America knows the code. If you get caught cheating, you gotta cut your side thing loose. Donald Trump's still on the phone at the White House talking to Russia. Hello? Hey, no, I want to talk to my man right now. You go get my Putin. Is that you, my Putin? I love you so much. I love the way you smell. I love the way your name comes off my lips. Boo.
Boo. That was adorable.
Let's have some respect.
So you should have went back to his routine before he got to that Putin thing. Go backwards a little bit. Just watch him as he comes out.
Man, I'm nervous. I can literally hear my dad up in heaven right now, like, boy, you better not mess this up. A lot of crazy stuff going on right now. Donald Trump is president. Nah, calm down. I'm not as mad as Facebook is. You read the messages. Oh, Donald Trump, this is the worst president ever. I'm not the smartest man, but 400 years of slavery and not one of them presidents made the cut. And the worst part...
Donald Trump. He's doing like his 70s black voice, like
Yeah.
when his dad was there, but that doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. But I love even his hair. Like, he's
Yeah.
got a great style.
He's doing his dad.
It was so cute when he went, boo. I've never heard anyone say that as a question. Boo.
I was prepared to kill him. He should just do stuff like, well, my dad saw the car, not in this goddamn car, just start shooting. Just do like his version of what his dad was talking about. I was like, what my dad said. Now, Showtime at the Apollo, that's a fucking pretty long in the tooth audience now. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
There used to be young people going there.
That was not a
Now it's people
young
in their
audience.
50s and 60s. Still booing people.
Booing this nice young man.
Well, he's shit, you know what I mean? He does need to work on the material
Sure,
a little bit.
he does.
And I agree with him. Why the fuck you walking out there? What's this wire story, Gail, about the small annoyances in life?
Oh my God. So there's a video up on the iBang, and it is just an example of the things that are like small things that can go wrong, but they're like the most annoying things ever.
All right.
So let's take.
Pulling it up.
Oh, okay. So these are the things, like, they're not that big of a deal, but they're the tragedies. So, like, the first one they show is, like, opening the cork.
Terrible. That's a terrible thing that happens. That when the cork breaks when you're opening up wine.
Pause it, Chris. Like, when you pull a sticker off, and then, like, it rips and ruins the thing that you've pulled it off.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Breaking your pencil the second you go. This one literally just happened to me yesterday. You toast your toast, it doesn't come back. It's not toasted at all. You put it back in, it's totally black. Like, these are the things, like,
toaster.
These are the things that, like, it's not a huge deal, but for some reason, the things that, like, add up in your day.
Not enough cereal left, so you pour it down, like, and you get like 8 Cocoa Puffs.
I would say that one, plus you have a normal amount of cereal, and then you go in and pour just like a teaspoon of milk over that cereal, and you're like, well, now this is ruined.
So this whole thing is just life's thing that you just hate way out of proportion.
Yes. That it's just like, it's a slight thing,
Right.
but for some reason, it's like the kind of shit that can ruin your day, or like the shit that adds up and ruins your day. Like, some of those are classic ones, but they also have some modern day age ones. Like, for example, like when you text someone like, hey, what's up? Or like, hey, are you up? And then you see that the little dots, like, they're responding, and then those just go away. And then you're just like,
I have seen, that's a Chris thing. He looks like he's gonna, or Chris's thing too is like when we'll do a group chat and I'll be like, well, who was supposed to take care of this? And then Chris is just gone from that point on. He's talking, but he'll just be like, mm-mm. And that, to me, that's like somebody like asking a question in the meeting and having that person just get up and walk out.
all right, I'm going to give you one that happens frequently to me, that it's like not a huge deal, but it's like, for some reason, it could set me off to the point of just being, I do internal screaming when it happens.
Yeah.
I'm taking the train. I'm on the regular local.
Yeah.
I see across the platform, oh, an express comes zipping up and pulling up. This is great. I'll get to work early. I run across the platform. I sit on the express train and then watch the local train door close, and then it goes, and we're sitting there for like 10 minutes. And you're like, what the fuck? Why did I do this?
Have you ever done this? Like, you're looking for a parking spot and you're like, fuck, there's a parking spot. And then you see the person in front of you backing up into it, and you had no idea they've been looking for that parking.
Oh, God.
And now you're just going, now I'm adding an extra, 2 hours of nightmare to my life? Because you can't imagine that there's another parking spot. You've been looking for 45 minutes. One opens up, you just miss it. You're like, I've missed the last possible parking spot in life.
I get that like on my street too, because we have just parallel street parking.
Yeah.
And then if you're coming back late at night, you know that there's going to be 1 or 2 spots open in the neighborhood if you're lucky. So you're finding that spot. And as you go to turn onto the street, you see someone has turned onto the street just before you, and they're driving slow. And you're like, they're going to get the first spot they find. And that could be the last spot in the neighborhood.
It's literally the reason why I don't want to have a gun in the car. Because murder and getting that spot would seem all worth it. Vito, you look like you're moving up like you got one.
Yeah, we have these wired headphones and rolling chairs, and during the day we'll be doing work and we'll roll over a headphone wire and the thing will get trapped in the wheel. And
Right,
then
that's just for our specific job.
No, but
these are supposed to be universal.
These are universal
How many
truths.
people you think in America have rolled over a headphone cord?
I feel like a lot of people use headphones at work to listen to stuff.
Not this. This is the type of headphones that they listen to. Not as long as ours, Chris.
Realizing I forgot something and having to go back into my apartment.
I hate that too.
Drives me fucking crazy. And I feel like, well, now it's going to get another hour to my
I
commute.
hate that same exact thing.
I fucking lose it.
And I could only be 10 fucking feet away from my door, and I think, should I even bother
I've done
going
it.
back? Or if I go back, I'll just stay home.
Because here's the thing that happens. I start to think if I double back, even if I lose 15 seconds, even if I'm in the hallway and then I see let's say miss a train or miss a cab or do something, or if you're driving home, you miss you don't catch the light that you were going to catch, and then you're going, but I know exactly where I fucked this up. That 15 seconds when I doubled back. If I was 15 seconds ahead of time, I wouldn't be in this fucking situation.
Every single time I go back, I come walking through my door and see a fucking yellow cab going by. Doesn't mean I won't catch another one. I'm not leaving at any fucking serious time. But it pisses me off every time. Every single time.
It's the worst.
But obviously it isn't the worst. There's so many worse things.
Because I actually had that happen to me not too long ago. It was like I was waiting for the train. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I was waiting for the train, and it was like taking, a long time to show up. And I'm standing there, and people are starting to get like, okay, where is this fucking train? Like, it's starting to get noticeable that it's been a while.
Yeah.
And this woman's like, I feel like there hasn't been a train in like a good 15, 20 minutes. And then I was like, this is an actual nightmare. And the woman goes, well, it's not that bad. And I felt immediately embarrassed because I had said to her, this is an actual nightmare. And like, I realized what I was talking about is a train being 15 minutes late, but I was like, that serious. But I was serious in the moment. I was like, I'm in hell. Like, I thought, oh, this is hell right now.
I will tell you something that will drop me, like physically drop me. We order food, and I look over, and someone's plate looks a million times better than me. Somebody ordered a special or something that looks so fucking delicious. And I look like I'm looking down at my plate, and I just see gray stuff.
Particularly if you were debating the dish that you were going to get, and then you see that later or someone else gets it, and you're just like, why would I go with like immediately you start going, fish? I went with the fish? What the fuck is wrong with me? I hate
I'm
it.
more likely to bail out on the fish, and then because I'm like, I can't trust everybody to make good fish, and then I'll see something fantastic come in.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, give me your fucking plate right now. Give me your plate, and I'll give you $200 if you eat my shit.
I also had like a meltdown the other morning because I misplaced my belt. It was somewhere in the apartment, right?
Yeah, but you can't go outside without a belt.
I mean, I could have. I just pulled my pants up the entire time. That would have been annoying. But I had a fucking meltdown in my apartment screaming, where the fuck is this belt? Where the fuck did I put it? Why would I take it off my fucking pants? Like, verbatim screaming in my apartment like a psycho.
Were you screaming at your girlfriend?
No, I was just screaming at
it
the
seems
walls.
like you were screaming at your girlfriend.
What did you do with that fucking belt?
You get me the belt or you get the belt.
You Costa Rican whore. Did you fucking hock my belt somewhere? Dude, you gotta watch that fucking temper, OJ. And none of you guys watched OJ last night?
I didn't watch it. I read about
I
it.
didn't, and I was shocked that I forgot about it.
I did, and I enjoyed just how bad it was.
Was
It
it?
was fucking terrible. It was a waste of 2 hours, and it was cracking me up more and more. And Judith Regan is every bit as guilty as O.J. Simpson for the deaths of those people. Hey, John, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're talking about the things in life that they shouldn't be that big of a deal, but they fucking destroy us.
Oh, a lot of those little fucking things get to me, but this morning especially, because I work in construction. I was at a job site, and I'm just on lunch now, but I was at the job site this morning, and we get the key to open, different job sites, right? Different keys. So then I go and I'm trying the key, and they go, oh shit, they gave me the wrong key, doesn't work. And the guy behind me goes, let me try it, like as if he's his fucking hands are going to be the magic things to open the door, like he can open any door. It's like the same thing when you go to push a door open and they go, oh, it's a pull. It goes, oh, well, obviously I'm going to pull next. Like, fuck.
Yeah, it's just those things drive you nuts.
It's so hard being a human.
Yeah.
All right, I have another one.
Good.
You go to take a sip of your coffee or your hot beverage. It's scalding hot. It's too hot. And then you're like, oh, fuck. You put it down. Then you wait too long, go back to it. And you're like, I've missed the sweet spot. So now I've been burnt and now I'm drinking cold coffee. And I don't know why that really fucking gets to me.
That has happened to me with pizza. Like, this is unbelievably hot pizza. They're trying to kill me. I'll put it down for 2 minutes, and I bite into a cold, old piece of pizza. It's fucking old as shit in no time at all.
It's congealed.
How could that happen? That seems to be against science itself.
It's the worst. It's the worst. But it isn't, but it is. I don't know why.
Do you think that this is just modern living, or ancient people felt the same way? Like, do you think Romans sat around? It was like,
yeah,
you know, you go to the aqueduct, you're trying to get a fresh cup of water, a finger comes by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did they have those little things?
You go like do your cave drawing and fucking chalk breaks.
I don't know. What were they using? They weren't using chalk.
Well, I guess like rock that are like
Just scraping
talky,
in?
maybe.
Charcoal? Yeah, I don't.
Maybe I don't know.
But how would that be around for thousands and thousands of years?
But
It
you know
always
those
amazes me.
you know the rock that's just kind of like talc or like soft mineral rock.
But why would that have stayed like that? Why wouldn't that have
I don't know.
washed
You're
off or
right.
something? Jason, Minnesota.
Hey, Bennington.
Hey.
Yeah, so, like, I'll be cooking in the kitchen, and if there's a dish, or if there's a spatula or pan in the dishwasher that's dirty that I need to cook with, I will contemplate just dropping everything and going out to eat before I pull that out and watch it.
So rather than clean that pan by hand, you'll just leave your home and go and eat something.
Exactly.
I have that.
I will say, oh, honey, we're going out.
I have that same issue with like my garlic press. If I'm like starting to make dinner and I see like the garlic press is because you know how you have like the garlic press is so fucking annoying to clean.
Yeah.
Because the garlic gets all stuck. I seriously could just be like, well, fuck everything. I don't want to sit here for 10 minutes and clean a garlic press. This is a nightmare. Forget
A
it.
garlic press is terrible.
It sucks.
It's so great to use, but cleaning is a fucking nightmare. I thought of this the other day. So I have a bad waitress for breakfast, right? She's taking forever to get to us. Doesn't stop. Then I'm trying to wave to her. I'm literally at a breakfast that must have been an hour 20, hour 30 minutes. When she finally gets around with the fucking check, she had missed like fucking 4 or 5 items. I ate like I had like a $17 fucking breakfast in Manhattan when we were splitting French toast as well as having our own stuff. I'm just like, okay, you did a good job.
This is worth it.
Yeah. Let's go here to Chris. Chris in Philadelphia. Just an annoyance that you hate out of proportion.
Anytime I'm working out or in general, whenever I have earplugs in or headphones in, and the cord gets caught on something, gets ripped and yanked off my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
it ends up
terrible.
like dropping on, especially if you're working out, you're dropping it on like an elliptical, and then you have to stop what you're doing with a sweat, get the cord, reattach everything, and then you lose your whole fucking mojo.
I also don't understand how people will come up to you and on the street and talk to you when you got fucking earbuds in.
People do it to me, and they'll do it if I'm on the phone. If I'm on the phone, people will come up, especially I'll be walking my dog, and they're like, oh, what breed of dog is that? How old is she? And I'm like, I'm holding the phone. I mean, it's one thing for you to just like give her a pet, but like, why are we in a full conversation? I'm holding a phone up to my face.
Drivers do that a lot too. Like you'll have headphones on and you'll hear something and go, what? And they go, how's your day?
Did you notice whether you rolled over them in your fucking chair? Everything about you is earbuds.
A lot of ear-related issues.
Yeah.
But me.
Well, you put more. No, wait. I don't know when you said that. I don't know whether you said baby powder.
What was the sign you did? This
Roll away the stone. I got you. Aaron, leaving Las Vegas. What's up?
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
So I'm a professional chef for 20 plus years. My wife makes chicken. I'm like, I'll just make white rice. Fucking white rice, 2 ingredients, water and rice, and I ruined it. It turned into a ball of mush. I fucking lost my mind for 15 minutes screaming, I do this for a living. Make fucking white rice. And my family got to watch me break down like an asshole.
But aren't chefs known for going crazy?
Yeah, I probably should have started with that.
It's like literally the last job that you're allowed to scream at people.
Yeah.
Because, did you notice over this fucking weekend, they came out against the Stranger Things producers, right?
Yeah.
As being part of the woke up thing. And then you found out all they did was yell at people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never had a fucking job where somebody wasn't screaming.
When I worked in a kitchen, there was like no rules with that. Like, they were screaming at each other, yelling things. And by the way, sexual harassment, rampant.
Yes.
Rampant in the kitchen.
That's coming out very much on the food and beverage industry. It's because those guys, they have a skill that really even your education doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it's great if you go to cooking school.
Right.
If not, you could just work for a great chef somewhere and apprentice for him, and you could become a great chef. And plus, a lot of these guys are just short order cooks.
Right.
It's a valuable guy to have. You put up with a lot of shit from that dude.
You do. I mean, owners will put up with a lot if they have a great
we
chef.
put up a guy who fucking stole from us. We just fucking said, well, we're not paying him much as it is, and he's good. And there were just like steaks would be missing and shit. We're just like, and there was like knives missing. I think he had even made a deal with somebody to make a purchase, and he had something else sent to his house. I talked to my my partner about it. I'm like, this can't go on. He goes, oh, we'll just get another guy and he'll do the same shit. I'm like, all right then. John, what's up?
Ronnie B, I'm in this nice little Thai restaurant in Hell's Kitchen yesterday with my wife. 2 pretty 20-year-old white girls sit down, and they got that damn vocal fry, and it sounded like I was next to 2 tigers growling. Made me nuts.
Why didn't he like it? Like, what didn't he like about it exactly?
Even my wife laughed at it. It was insane.
Did you think it was funny?
Yeah.
It's hard. I don't know how to pull off that vocal fry. And it's always like, and then my friend.
Like, and then you do upspeak.
Yeah.
It's like when you go up. It's pretty crazy. But that's how I talk. So, yeah.
It's all over the place. It doesn't matter. It's an accent that doesn't matter. It shows up in every part of the country.
I actually don't hear it. Like when people go, "Oh my God, wasn't her vocal fry so annoying?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't really pick up on it because I'm so used to it because like so many people have it."
Yeah.
So crazy.
There are so. Well, the other night, these young girls came in, and they're trying to get to attention because their friend, it was their 26th birthday. I'm like, literally, no one gives a fuck about a 26th birthday.
No, that's nothing to discuss.
You are either a child, and that number is important to you, or you have a 0.
Yes.
No one ever goes, holy shit, I'm fucking turning 63, and it's just weighing on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get fucked up for 60, they get fucked up for 50, but no one's like, oh my God, I'm 44.
Your birthdays that like anybody should take note of. Go 21, 30, 40, 50, 60. I mean, that's it.
But I'll say this, though. Unless it was the year that your dad died, then I can see people freaking out.
Then
like
people go,
die.
yeah, it's significant.
Yeah.
But usually you don't throw a party with your friends. So at
How
least
old
that.
was your dad when he died?
53.
All right, you got some.
Yeah.
I'm fucking stunned. He lived as long as a junkie can live.
Yeah, he had a run.
Yeah. Hey, Chris in New York. What's the?
Hey, Ron.
Hey.
I love this topic.
So, I have a big driveway. I could probably fit about 10 cars in my driveway. It's 20 feet wide, 2 wide, 5 deep. And somebody will always pull in right in the middle of the driveway instead of picking one side or the other so nobody can get past me. That annoys the shit out of me.
I know. That happens all the time. If I go to someone's house and they're having a party, I don't even want to park in the driveway because I don't want to have to go around and ask people.
No.
You know
Street park it every time. Even if there's one car in that driveway, you don't know who's coming.
You don't know who's coming. You could be stuck there. I want to fucking Irish leave this thing too.
Yeah.
You know? I want to stumble bum.
Yeah, you do not want to be asking people to move their car and making a big scene about you leaving. Then you get the, what? You're leaving?
What? It's only 2:00 in the morning.
Stay. All right, I thought of another little annoyance that drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
This is also sink and dish related. You go to turn on your sink and let's say you're doing dishes, water hits spoon and shoots directly at your chest or your belly and ruins what you're wearing. That gets me unreasonably angry.
I know. That's a fucking nutty one.
I'm like, why? And at this point, you're only mad at yourself because, how many times have you done that in your life? If you were to go wash, even if you're washing said spoon,
Right.
I do it all the time. I'm putting spoon up to water and then shocked every time that it hits me. And I'm like, why have I not learned this in my years on this planet? Why?
I had this experience today, so I was going to make myself an omelet. I take the fucking egg thing out, and I put 2 eggs on the counter. I'm walking back to put the carton away, and this egg is rolling, and I have the thing in my hand, so I just slap the egg back up like Texas Leaguer, back up on the counter, and the egg cracked a little bit, and I took that as a win. I'm like, I'll throw that out.
But now you don't have to clean egg all over your kitchen.
And I could have fucking just bursted egg across everywhere. I mean, it could have been the worst, but I felt you know what? Forget even, it was almost like a backhand in tennis.
Right.
Like I was leaning back and I just lobbed it back up and it cracked and I went, God damn it, that was a great move by me. Ben, what's up?
Hey, so one that really pisses me off, not exactly finishing people's sentences. Every once in a while you can't remember a word and everyone jumps in for a second. But it's steamrolling the entire point of the conversation where you're like, hey, work was, kind of tough today and we decided to change this thing up and we're going to start cooking fish and such, and then someone cuts you off and goes, you know what you should really do? You should start cooking the fish in this kind of a way.
I'm going to do this for you.
Sentence I was going to say.
I'm going to send you into the pretty good prize closet because this is such a common fucking thing when you're around comedians.
They'll try to finish your sentence.
No, forget finish your sentence. Chris, start to tell me a story about your cousin.
So my cousin, they got arrested. And
you know who else got arrested? This friend of mine got arrested the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And they will just do the thing, and then they'll...
It's so annoying.
Then
Yeah.
they'll finish and go like this. So you never finish your story? And I go, no, of course I didn't finish my fucking story. You fucking jumped in and told a duller story. Now you hear nothing from me. Nothing.
No one gets a story now.
You get nothing.
Story time is over.
Some people's fucking... They just need to fucking fill air. That quiet scares the shit out of them. So a pause forces them to jump into this thing.
They don't let. I also have a friend's husband who, anytime I'm around him, he does the thing where he's trying to top your story, and he'll literally go so far as he'll say phrases like, I have that beat, or here's a crazier one.
Yeah.
And it is never beaten anything. He's
Do you point that out?
Yeah.
Good.
Because, not when I first met him, but now I've known him for years, I will. But the thing is, it's even annoying when someone does top your story. Because you're like, hey, this wasn't your time, and I thought this was pretty good, and now you're going to be like, yeah, but this one time this guy did this crazier thing, and you're like, okay. But this is literally, he says it's going to top your story, takes the attention away from you, and it's always, 100% of the time, a duller story that goes nowhere.
I'm going to give you that even from a different perspective. I'm at a party. Someone tells the crazy guy from high school story. Next guy jumps in. Let me tell you about the guy I went to. Now I'm listening to two stories I don't give a fuck about.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sitting there with a drink and just trying to back the fuck away because I didn't want to hear the first story.
You're right.
About somebody I don't know.
Because that's almost worse with what he does. Is like, it's not even when it's your story.
Yeah.
He'll top someone else's story that I wasn't even particularly enjoying that one. Now you're screwed. This is a good point. Someone who tries to top a story is almost worse.
Yes.
For another person when you have to sit and listen to it.
And it's happened to me many times. And see, this is one of the problems we have. We know all the funniest fucking people. We have great guests. And now I got to be with like some fucking dude who runs a printing press and hear his story. I'm like, what are you talking about,
Just
man?
Stop telling this.
I was just with Michael Che and Colin Jost today. If you fucking work at a printing press, you better tell them a story if someone loses a finger. Someone's got to lose a fucking finger. Bob, what's up?
Hey, good afternoon, morning, whatever it is. Hey, I got two things, but I thought of a third that I want to start with, okay?
Wow,
I went to this hospital for the criminally insane, and the warden took me on a tour, and we go on the balcony, and there's a bunch of guys sitting around, and one of them says 13, and the other guys roll on the floor laughing.
There's an old joke. Don't bore
Okay,
us. Don't bore us with an old joke. You could have, we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
That's something that annoys me. That fucking joke is as old as me. Why are you sharing that?
Yeah. I was like immediately like, is this going to be a Batman thing? Or
First of all, I knew it was bullshit as soon as he said warden for an insane asylum. They don't have wardens there. These guys haven't broken a law.
What's his balcony?
Yeah. Put all the crazy people on the balcony as quick as you can. John, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
What really drives me nuts is when you're standing in line for coffee in the morning or whenever, and it's a long line. The person ahead of you has got just as much time as you to look at the fucking menu board, and they get up there, and the guy says, "Hi, can I help you?" And they go, what do I want? I'm like, you prick cocksucker, you fuck.
See, I love that reaction.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so raw.
I always like this, too. They'll be like this.
Well, follow them out in the lodge of their car and just donkey punch them right in the fucking head and pull their kids out, too. Like, I just
donkey punch means that you got your cock in
you
their
also
ass.
have your dick.
You fucking, you're backing this person up. Here's the thing that I like to when they'll do this. Let's see, coffee. What I want? What kind of coffee do I want?
What kind of syrups and flavors do you have? They've been up there the whole time, dude.
Coffee. Just a regular cup of coffee. Just like anybody else, like any other fella. We got a break here, Chris. You look like you're a nervous wreck right now.
We should break.
Oh boy, you said we're gonna break, and then you get up for that thing. This is my annoyance. We're doing both of these back to back.
Back to back.
Hello, is it me you're looking for? By the time you order takeout, you're already ravenous. You find what you want, but after tax, delivery fee, and tip, the cost of your meal doubles. And you still have to wait another 45 minutes for your food to arrive. So you just end up snacking.
With HelloFresh, you can prepare and eat home-cooked meals for less than $10 a plate, long before any overpriced takeout would arrive. Just go to HelloFresh.com, pick out the recipes you want. They're delivered directly to your doorstep every week in a special insulated box, along with easy to follow step-by-step instructions and full color pictures.
Each HelloFresh box includes fresh, seasonal ingredients that are perfectly portioned, so there's no waste. Just delicious meals that you can make in 30 minutes or less. And for a limited time, you can get $30 off your first box when you go to HelloFresh.com/raw. Plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/raw for $30 off.
HelloFresh.com/raw.
It's the Bennington Show on a Monday. A little later on in the show, we're going to have Eddie Kramer on. He is the guy who engineered a lot of the great Jimi Hendrix stuff. And they have more Hendrix songs. More Hendrix songs. All right, Chris, you told me that we were going to have Christine on, and then it disappeared. What happened, Vito?
She said to call, but then it went to voicemail, so I'm reaching out to her again.
All right. It's the that's coming up next hour, and if you're a Hendrix fan, this album will be some interest of you because it's just stuff. Some of it is like covers, some of it is kind of working other people's songs with them. He apparently, since he had bought his own recording studio when no one was doing that kind of stuff, he recorded a lot of shit. You know what I mean? He just recorded everything.
Yeah, it's weird that to have so many lost things for somebody who was like so young. Like just to have a lot of material. Basquiat was like that. Like he died young, but the quantity of work that he had done at that time, like it was just insane.
Yeah, so that if he would have stayed alive, he probably would have made too much work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It would probably be like, just stop painting, Basquiat. We can't sell all this.
I know. It's like there's some value to this.
Yeah, but the value gets less and
Yeah.
less and less. That's the thing. The market value certainly gets less the more you have. What you really want to do is paint one amazing painting and then die. And you know, the other thing about Hendrix, did he ever dress like he wasn't going on stage? Like Hendrix and Prince seem to be the two people who always looked like they were heading to the stage no matter what they were doing.
I mean, Hendrix, you might even say, had the best style of any rock god. Because there's like a lot of them that you're like, their style you would almost put up with their talent level and everything. Like it's so much a part of them.
Yeah.
But Jimi Hendrix has to be one of the top.
Well, and you know, we went to Prince. He was just copping a lot of Hendrix's style.
Right, exactly.
Now, I don't know whether you saw the latest attack on cultural appropriations, but it was on Bruno Mars and saying basically, I forget it was some activist.
Yeah.
He had no right and he was just a karaoke singer and that he was bringing even nothing new or of himself to the music. And I'm like, I can agree with everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be allowed to perform.
Well, you know, it's interesting because his whole vibe when he was on the scene, like, immediately I was like, hey, this isn't like normally my thing is like knowing who pop stars are, but this kid obviously has something going for him. And then he did that song and it was such a throwback song and it got so popular. But for some reason, this last time at the Grammys, I was like, this kid's irking me. Like I was always comfortable with him, but now I'm like, he's bugging me. This kid.
Ken Shane, first of all, I think I agree with almost everything that you said all the way down the line. But Ken Shane had the best line about him after the Grammys when he said he was Sammy Davis Jr. You could see that Sammy Davis Jr. could do everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
He could sing, he could dance, he could act, he could do everything, impressions. And you're like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah. You're just like, I've had enough of your talent level. And he was just maybe it was just too confident. Like there was a lack of humbleness.
But it was also that let me entertain you thing. Just like, you know.
It's like, oh, let me tell you a little story about my youth. And you're just like, but you're a young gun. It's like, it doesn't really come off good.
You're coming off as somebody who was a professional child. That's how I feel about Justin Timberlake too.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've seen this thing that was raised to be exactly what it is.
Well, you know, and as far as like him doing nothing new, it was funny because like his last single that he put out where Cardi B raps on it and it's like very 90s. And I was like, hey, this is a really good song. It sounds like something that really could have existed in that time period. And then immediately I went, yeah, but didn't he do that last time where he just picks a era and then
Right.
just mimics the sound and gets the production completely on point. So everything sounds across the board. And like you're listening to it and you're like, I enjoy this. And it feels almost weirdly nostalgic. Like that song came out and I was like, I love this song, but it's like, it's not real. It's weird.
And yet, do we hate anybody who's like doing the blues now? Or even doing jazz now? You're like, okay.
Yeah, but even so, those guys tend to be like, you know, they have their own scene. It's not necessarily, you don't deal with it as much. You're like, hey, there are people who, you know, have blues bands or jazz bands, and that's what they're into, but it's like their own side.
A lot of people who sing standards get on my nerves, though, when they act like they're Frank Sinatra. You know what I mean?
You don't like a Bublé where like he's doing like an old timey
I just
sound?
feel like if Bublé was around, there's no way Dean Martin would have hung out with him. There's no way Sinatra would have hung out with him. He would have been closer to a Wayne Newton. Another example, a guy who's got a ton of talent.
Yeah.
And yet everyone's like, Wayne Newton.
Isn't that weird how like the singing trends, like somebody comes out, they sound a certain way, and then musicians just go, oh, this is how we sing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know how like, you know, all those Disney Disney animated films, like from when you were a kid, and like they would have that trill in their voice, and they would all sing with like that vibrato, and it's all like that kind of stuff. I'm like, we don't do that now. Like if you watch a Disney movie now, they're singing like a pop singer would sing, but you know, it's that same thing. Like there'll be an affectation to a voice, and then everyone starts singing like that. It's so strange.
Right.
Like that's weird that we go, oh, this is what we think singing is.
Yeah, that is true. It literally is true. And the first person who did it was probably just, that was what they sounded like.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to be somebody else.
Right.
Anybody see the new American Idol last night?
I did not see it.
I watched it because I wanted to see if they were going to be mean or not to people.
And
they were not mean to anybody. There was one person that was a Broadway singer that they kind of were like, this isn't for you. You'd be great on Broadway.
But what does it mean?
Yeah, but is this like the thing where they have the people come in and they that part?
Yeah, like this is the audition. So I was hoping they'd do like the thing they used to
Oh
do.
yeah, where they're just like really cruel to special needs people who are singing.
None of that.
But how can you do that when you know you can't? If they would have turned around and did it, and there was, you know, everyone would be like, "Oh, they're trying to be Simon." So you watched that over? What was else? Because there was a couple big things.
OJ was on.
But there was
last
even
night.
the iHeart Radio Awards, which I think would probably is going to win the night if you go by Twitter.
Yeah, I was looking on Twitter last night. The rankings went iHeartMedia number 1. Number 2 was actually a WWE pay-per-view. Number 3 was American Idol. And number 4 was OJ.
Now, how can everybody act like they're obsessed with OJ? You get him admitting that he did it, and no one gives a shit.
This is bigger than the documentary or the fake TV show they put on.
Well, it's not a fake TV show. It's a TV show.
Scripted? It's a scripted. That's it.
Fake TV show. What TV show is fake? So this is basically
No, it's fake. Happy Days.
A real life version of If I Did It, Here's How It Happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was promoting that book.
Yeah, from, what was it, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
And, but I was like, so when he goes, this is fictional, and then he goes, I remember I grabbed the knife, and they were going like, at some point you took off your glove? He goes, I must have. They found a glove. But he was saying like there's stuff that was just out of his mind. Like he doesn't know. Like he
Right,
went
'cause
into
he was
some
in a rage.
Rage. But was interesting, even when he said that he didn't do it, you know, when he went back, he was like, not, okay, they got killed, but I was killed too. They killed everything I had built my whole life to get to that point. And he said what he could not believe is that all the goodwill that he had built up being OJ, and with 3 days just to see how many people just assumed that he had done it.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said he could not believe it, that he could fall so far, so fast in the public's eye. Because he felt like he wasn't just beloved because of, he felt like he was beloved because he went out of his way to get people to love him. He was always nice to everybody.
Right.
He was always working and selling and being positive. And for them to just immediately believe he was a murderer, You know, he was pissed.
Right.
He was pissed, even though he did it.
Yeah, he did it. You guys could have at least debated it.
And he is right. White people did. Oh man, there's the guy from the Alienist just walked by.
Oh, really?
Your mother would go crazy for that. The doctor.
Oh, very cool. Are you still enjoying that show?
Loving it.
Yeah, me too.
Loving it. It's actually getting even closer. But I'll tell you, this fucking Counterparts. No one's even talking about it. Might be the best fucking show. Might be the best show of the last 70 years.
I was looking at an article about best shows already of 2018, and I think that was like second or third, and they were putting the new season of Atlanta already at.
I haven't started watching that yet.
It's very good.
And On Demand is fucking terrible. On Demand doesn't have the first episode.
Spectrum's is the On Demand's terrible. Like they don't put up stuff for like a week or two. Sometimes they skip an episode.
Yeah, it's really
do me
bad.
a favor and call them every day.
Please.
You just say that you're on the radio and you'd like to have. You demand that your On Demand is there, or just don't have an On Demand at all.
Don't tease us with this fake On Demand. I had that recently. I missed a show. I don't even know why. I set it up to record. It didn't record. And then I was like, well, I'm sure it's on demand by this point. No, and still isn't. I don't understand it. I don't understand their logic.
Steve in Iowa. Steve.
Yeah, I was watching that OJ thing last night, and he kept referencing this Charlie dude. And I think I know who that was.
Oh.
I think it was John Elway.
Funny stuff. That would be just great. They were saying that they thought Charlie was himself. Like
So he
had,
was
a dark passenger, the way that
Interesting.
Dexter did.
Yes.
Hey, Charles in Chicago.
Yeah, I think, Bruno, I agree with you at some points. It's starting to wear on me as repetitive with Bruno Mars. But his background, and I could tell you this, coming from Hawaii, he almost gets a pass on the cultural appropriation thing because I think that you have an opportunity to pick and choose out there. You know, it's not like hip-hop. If you're from Brooklyn, you got one train to ride on, and you got to stick with that, or else everybody's going to say, oh, you're not being true to where you came from.
I don't even know if I believe that's true. I think everybody can pick what they want, but I do think that you also need to put your own spin on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of calling out a cultural appropriation when we're talking about art anyway.
Right.
I think that, I really think that that's a dangerous term that has become a little bit overused.
I don't even know when it started, but to act like no white person could be a soul singer is not paying attention to soul music. It's always been that way. And on and on and on. Everybody picks up. Even if you reject things, it's still an influence to you.
Yeah.
But there is differences between an entertainer and an artist, and I'm not sure if the entertainer should get the awards. You know what I mean?
Right.
He can get the money.
Yeah.
But should he get the critical love?
Well,
I
that
don't know.
was like the big shock for me was that he had won album of the year, and I was like, now I have to admit I didn't hear it, but it's very rare that a pop album is a great album. It's usually, just a collection of singles.
Since I don't have the stuff in front of me, I was asking you to take a look at that thing because I don't have a computer in front of me. All right, so we brought up that Skankfest was announced. It's going to be at an all-new place in Brooklyn, which hasn't happened. Ari Shaffir made the announcement last night, and everybody was excited. And here's our friend Christine, who produces Skankfest. Christine! Yes!
Hi!
Congratulations!
Hi, guys!
Congratulations to you and Ari. Now, you're
Ari's such an asshole.
Why?
It's just, there's a price to pay to, love Ari Shaffir, and you just have to deal with him being a dick.
Now, so you didn't expect him to make the announcement?
Well, I texted Ari yesterday because we were going to make the announcement at midnight, And so I was just texting some of our close friends to say, like, hey, this is when Skankfest is going to be, before it went out publicly.
Right.
And as soon as I sent the text, he was like, I'm going to announce it. I want to be the one to announce it. Tell Lewis I'm announcing it. And I was sitting there begging. I was like, please don't. Like, we have a whole video. It's a whole thing. It's going out at midnight. And he goes, I can't help myself. I'm a skank. He put out a tweet, and then he said it was my fault, and I should have known better than to tell him ahead of time.
Well, that is true.
He did have a point.
Yeah. So Lewis wasn't the guy who made the announcement.
No, Lewis was not the guy that made the announcement. So within, a minute, I got an email from Lewis with Ari's tweet. And it was a little bit of, we all kind of laughed about it. And we were like, fuck it, let's just put everything out now. So we just announced a few hours ahead of time. But, the tweet was funny.
And Ari has put a lot of work into Skankfest, and he should be, he should be the spokesman.
Well, I ended Saturday night last year cleaning up Zach and Miko's blood and Ari Shafir's piss. So, he is a part of the bones.
All right, you're moving it to Brooklyn this year.
We are. We're so excited. It's right over the Pulaski Bridge down the street from the creek.
Okay.
And it's this old Polish wedding hall called that got picked up by the Brooklyn Bazaar, which used to be in a different space. And Lewis walked in and saw it, and I went down the next day. And it's just one of the coolest event spaces I've ever seen. It still has that dingy factor, but there's a big upstairs room, a big downstairs room. So we have 2 big rooms, 2 small rooms, and then tons of little spaces to do our tattoos and face painting and all that fun stuff. So we're excited, and we're still going to do our kickoff party Friday at the Creek, and, we'll do some cross promo with the Creek. And, obviously Rebecca's a partner on the festival, so she's excited to grow it to larger space as well.
Well, congratulations to you guys. I think it's great. Now, Lewis was telling me the goal is to do 15 or 16 of these things.
Worldwide tour, 75 dates next year. Look out for it.
Should I get tickets?
We did.
Yeah.
We wanted to do it. We just all, everybody kind of got we all just got a little busier, and, things went in different directions. And so we decided we just wanted to concentrate on, doing the best festival we could in New York. And it really, this thing, we put our everything into this, so it takes it out of us. And I was getting, I was getting a little anxiety that I wouldn't be able to make it what it is in as many cities, and I really just wanted to blow it out in New York. So we're excited to do this, and then we'll see where we're going to take it next year.
Lewis has a dream. Remember that. Lewis has a dream.
And I follow Lewis into the dark, so, I'm right behind him.
All right, congratulations. It's up on the iBang,
Thank you
too.
so much.
And
we're so excited.
It was so great last year, and we wish you all the best with it this year.
Oh, thank you so much. And, obviously, I'm going to reach out to you and ask you to be there.
Nope. Thank you.
Obviously, I'm doing it well. I repeat bookings. We're a family, Ron.
All right. Thank you, darling. And best of luck to you and Ari and everything that you two are doing. Thanks.
I'll let Ari know you said that.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
They are incredibly mean to each other. As their way of expressing love.
Yeah, that's how they love.
That's how they love. I think it's always funny, too, that they were mad at first, and then it was just like, okay, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Stupid to
and
be
she's
mad.
like, you're right. It is my fault for trusting him with information.
I wouldn't tell him anything.
No.
I don't know what Flat wants me to see. Some Widener College things from 1975. Get it. I hope it's Billy White Shoes Johnson running back yet another touchdown. Vito, what's up in your mind? You said you had something you want to talk about?
Did you see that crazy foul in the high school basketball game over the weekend?
Yeah, I didn't care.
But that's one of the dirtiest things ever seen in just a lower level game. And like the teammates didn't give a fuck. Like usually there would be a brawl.
Maybe you've never played street ball in your life, but people do terrible fouls all the time.
Is this
It's a high school game, and like just look. I'm more surprised at the outcome of it.
Oh my god!
He just pushed the guy into the stands. That's all.
But he shoves him midair during the dunk. And what I found interesting is that the teammates, I would go fight somebody if they fucking did that to my teammate. And yet all of these guys are just like, that's his problem.
Maybe he's a dick.
They told the
That
other
is a
team to do
pretty
that.
dangerous fucking foul.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah, it might be the most dangerous foul I've ever seen in my life.
I know, because he gets horizontal midair.
I mean, he must go like 8 feet, and then he lands on his spine. So, he's paralyzed now?
No, he's fine. But it's just an interesting thing to see in a high school game, and that there's no reaction. And people on Twitter are pretty pissed about it, just that it happened, and they felt his teammates didn't have his back.
Well, if they would have hit this guy or not, it ain't helping him. He's laying on the ground.
I know. It also looks like he almost split the pole, like legs between the pole, like he could get hit in the peach there.
But I got news for you. It's like fighting is now assault. You've trained these kids not to fight, and then you're freaked out when they don't fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've raised peaceful warriors, you know? They're always looking for ways not to fight. And then you're going, hey, why didn't you fight that kid? Oh, I thought I wasn't supposed to under any circumstances.
You told me to be a peaceful warrior.
Here's the story. So last night, I'm hearing sirens around my fucking house, right? And I'm like, you hear sirens all the time in New York. And then I get this update. A helicopter goes down in the East River.
Yeah.
They were shooting pictures, blah, blah, blah. They had rented this helicopter. I think it was 5 people in the helicopter. 1 guy got out. The other 4 were killed. This place in the East River, Chris might know it a little bit because it's not far from his neighborhood. But I watch boats there all the time. It's called Hellgate.
Mm-hmm.
And the river does all kind. I've seen big fucking boats, the tour boats, just twirl.
Yeah.
Just twirl there. So as soon as that thing hit that water and started to go down, I'm like, that river is going to suck them in. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
And there's a video. I don't know whether. Oh, I am not looking at their happy faces, Chris. Was that them?
That was them.
I can't see that pre thing. But you can see how quickly it went under. Now, here's the deal. The pilot got out, and the 4 people that were renting this helicopter were killed. It seems bad that the pilot is the guy who
Really
survived.
bad.
Yeah. Like you're saying, as he's doing a maneuver, maybe to do something
That only worked for him?
Yeah.
I don't know. But he was able to get out, and everybody else was sucked under that water.
Yeah, that's so, oh my God, it's really heartbreaking. And yeah, that water there, it's like a washing machine. It's crazy when you watch it.
Well, it's
when you're
even
up close to it, because it moves fast, but it's also just swirling nonstop.
But also, even when it looks calm, those things happen under the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you've got the Long Island Sound being sucked down into, the New York Harbor, and then it pushes back. That's actual tidal water that goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Even though it's a river. So it's always in some kind of weird currents going on. But how does he get out and nobody else?
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like he was out quick and was like already swimming away towards like the land or whatever.
Well, they had taken the doors off for this exact thing so that they could do a photo shoot. They'll do things like if you're doing a photo shoot of New York, they'll take the doors off.
Really?
Yeah. But you think that would have been easier for everyone
to escape.
And it didn't look like they crashed too hard into that, it would have broken necks or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just that, like, it's hard to tell how hard they're hitting the water at that point, but it really doesn't. It looks like if you're able to get out and swim away, that you should be able to survive from that crash. It
And there's
doesn't
a
look like a
tugboat right there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a big crash landing that you would think.
Hey, Patrick, you're on the air.
Hey guys, the pilot looked like he did a great job getting it down on the water, but once the voters hit the water and it tilted over, he's the only guy in there that knows how to work that harness.
Oh, that's
They
true.
said they were all harnessed in. The firefighters and cops were having a hard time getting them out in their wetsuits, getting them out of those harnesses. So they all panicked. And he's not Sully. He's not looking about saving their lives. He's some rental. He wanted out. He saved his own butt, and the rest of them got trapped in there. And
You came up with a good point. I like to hear Sully's take on this.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the only guy that would know. Those rent your copter things. I was going to do it at the Grand Canyon, and then a lot of people said, "Don't fucking do it here. Those things go down all the time."
Yeah.
I go, "Oh, okay."
There was one not too long ago.
Yeah, it happens. It's a strange deal. Those little helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
Russ, Illinois.
Hey, Benningtons. This morning on Fox News, they reported that it's possible that one of the passengers' bags, their photo bags or whatever, hit the emergency shutoff for the engine, and that's why it went down.
Why would there be an emergency shutoff close enough for a passenger ever to hit it?
I know.
Let alone a piece of fucking luggage.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
I'm going to get to the bottom of
Just
this.
thought you ought to know. And there was 5 passengers.
Yeah, 5 passengers, and they all lost their lives, and then the pilot got out.
Yeah, they had to cut them out of those harnesses.
Ugh. God. Peace. So I literally could have walked over to the river to see all that, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't have that image. I'm just going to watch this OJ TV show.
It's just something nice, some light entertainment.
Hey, John, what's up?
Yeah, hey, he kind of said it there. I was just going to let you know that they were, because they had the doors off, they all had to be strapped into them harnesses. And the fire department said they had trouble even cutting them out of the harnesses. So when they went underwater, they couldn't get out of their harnesses in time.
I never harness into anything.
Never.
Oh, I mean,
Nothing.
it's unthinkable.
I don't harness into stuff.
Ugh.
I want to be thrown clear of the wreck. My dad taught me that about safety belts. He goes, if you don't put on your seatbelt, you'll be thrown clear of the wreck. And then you'll be able to be fine. He goes, most accidents, it's just the people in the seatbelts that are killed.
Can't be true.
We didn't have a lot of, hey, what's up, dogs?
What's up, Blue?
We didn't have a lot of trust of seatbelts when they first started pushing them on us. We've kind of felt like it was...
This could strangle me.
We were like the people are with the gun laws.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm a libertarian.
I need my freedom to move about the cabin.
If I'm in a seatbelt, how am I going to reach back and get myself a beer? And now you're telling us we can't text and drive? Come on. Come on. Let's go space truck in. Terry in New York. Terry.
What's up, gang? We started watching this. What's up, Ronnie and Gail?
Hey.
We started watching a show. Hey. But there's a show you guys would love.
All right.
Babylon Berlin. It's on Netflix. 16 episodes. Takes place in 1929 Berlin. Super stylish. You got to watch it in German with the subtitles. Unfortunately, it's the best way to watch it. And Ronnie, Brian Ferry, is in on the music and appears in the show.
Wow.
I'm in.
First of all,
check it out.
What channel is it on?
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
I'm in.
I get Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you into the pretty good prize closet, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Chris, send me a reminder.
Chris,
Babylon
send them
Berlin.
something nice still.
I get something nice.
What? What's he getting?
Not sure, a DVD or a book, but something he'll enjoy.
You like something Brian Ferry or Roxy Music?
Yeah.
Possibly. Can't guarantee it, though.
Why?
Don't have the list of what we have in front of me.
Well, we
But
have
aren't we
that.
supposed to have that list at all times?
The list is in my email as of right now.
What do you mean your list is in your email?
You have access
There's a list
to
to an
it.
email, yes.
Print it.
I will. I'll print it later today.
You got the email right now? Can you bring up your email?
I think, Vito, do you have the email?
I think I have the email.
All right. Print out the email.
You just said you.
Why print it?
Just have it in front of me.
I don't think it prints well because it's an Excel doc.
What?
Just say the
There he
email.
goes.
Damn it.
Yeah, you should run down the hall and try to see him.
I'm going to.
He's great.
I'm going to cut him off.
Yeah, cut him off. You don't watch the Alienist?
I don't watch it.
It's really good. It's like 1800s New York.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
Like just the sets and, how it looks.
Yeah, I don't know how they pull it off.
Is there anything with aliens in this, or is that just
No, he's the first criminal psychologist. And alienists back there, they thought if somebody was crazy or mad, that they would be alien from their own spirit. So a person
right.
that dealt with criminal psychology was called an alienist. I never assumed that you would jump in and think that there were Martians on this planet.
I thought maybe it was some sort of like weird alternate history show with
No.
Teddy Roosevelt and aliens.
No. I guess it is alternate history. I don't think it really happened this way.
Okay.
Is it like that show, The Nick, that was also about like old New York?
Yeah, but we're talking about the alienists.
I'm just saying, is it like a similar feel?
No, it's a whole nother show. All right, Gail got to see the alienist.
I caught him.
Did you say hi?
Handsome.
You're not on these things unless you're attractive.
Yeah, handsome dude.
So even a lot of people that you think are not attractive on TV, you see them in real life, you're like, oh, that fucker's attractive.
Yeah.
And far smaller than I thought he would be, no matter who it is.
Yeah, always shorter.
Yeah. Always shorter and always way less. I mean, you don't walk around in life and meet a lot of guys that are like 120 pounds. And yet that's like pretty standard for TV and movie stars.
Yeah. It's especially funny when you realize like someone's like an action star.
Yeah.
And they're like really short.
They're punching
and petite.
people
Yeah.
and shit. Well, Tom Cruise is what, 5'6", 5'7"?
Yeah.
And he's never lost a fight.
Never. And slight.
Yeah, he's probably 150, you know. And a guy that size would be saying like this in real life. Hey, we don't have to fight. We can just talk this out. But Tom Cruise is like, lock the door. I'm going to beat up these 8 guys. And I know a lot of tough guys. None of them have ever beat up 8 guys at one time. You could beat up 8 children. You could beat up a mother and 7 children. Because the closest you can to those action star kind of fightings.
Yeah, because all it takes is someone hitting you from behind with the head. That's all it takes.
That's it. Then the fight's over.
But they all wait to attack one at a time.
I would be like, let's have 8 of us are going to get this guy, but fair fight.
Do you ever notice that when, so it's like one person versus a bunch of people, and if
Yeah.
you really pay attention to the choreography of an action movie, and it's like, I just got this guy, then I got these 2 guys at once, now I'm taking on this guy, and you're like, hey, what are you guys doing in between this time? Like, you're like wondering what they're supposed to
getting
be
ready
doing
to
on the
fall.
sidelines, like they're just like getting their fists, like, let me at him.
They're like this. Oh, yeah, that's right. So he pulls me, I spin. It's over. But yeah, you never just see like 8 guys just fucking on top of the dude.
I remember Blade was really bad with that, where the henchmen, you could just see them standing in the back and like just waiting, like,
Yeah.
I'm going to get in there.
I'll tell you this about Blade. It was a better movie than it should have been. That should have been the worst movie that ever happened. And I've watched, now I can't speak for Blade 2 and 3.
I never saw 3. 2 was pretty ridiculous. But Blade 1 was surprisingly good. It was fun.
You went further than me by saying good. I don't think I'd use that.
Now, is
but
Blade
it's very watchable.
Is Blade a superhero?
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking about this whole time. Like, they're like, you know, same with Black Panther. I was like, hey, what about Blade?
He was a Marvel superhero.
Yeah, he was. He was a half vampire, is what he was.
Yeah, he could go out in
He
the
was-
sun.
Yeah, he what?
He could like be out
But
in the
he
sun.
needed shades, and he needed, you know.
Half vampire, much like Michael and Star.
Yes, very good. Now, you think that Blade should have gotten more credit during this
I'm just
Black
saying,
Panther
yeah,
time.
you know, maybe we weren't ready for Blade. Maybe we didn't embrace Blade the way we should have. But, you know.
It was a trilogy, so they were making some kind of movie.
Yeah.
coming out of it. Just like that weird vampires versus werewolves thing that they did 5 or 6 of them. And
Twilight?
Yeah.
No. This is like a superhero thing, and the werewolves are fighting the vampires.
Underworld with Kate Beckinsale.
Okay, I've never seen one of those. And
I've seen clips. She looks fantastic. I don't know anyone who's watched them, but they've made like 5 or 6.
Holy shit!
So they're
Yeah,
doing
that's
something
weird.
right? But Black Panther, this was very interesting to me. It's the #1 comic book origin story of all time.
Wow.
A fucking thing that, if anyone read it, I never met them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To say this is a comic book movie, we could start naming it. Until a week ago, you could start naming comic book fucking characters, and you wouldn't get anywhere close to Black fucking Panther.
Yeah.
Now, believe it or not, people don't realize this. Iron Man was pretty much the same way. No one gave a shit about Iron Man until that movie came out.
No, and like the Marvel Universe, people care about like X-Men and Spider-Man.
But how long will... You sound like a child.
Like X-Men, Spider-Man, pretty cool. Spidey, I call him Spidey.
Hulk. Okay, Vincent.
Now Shred is a bad guy, Split is a good guy.
Now, here's the thing. When that came out, fucking Iron Man had been around like for like 40 years or more, right?
Yeah.
And then it was like, at one point they said Tom Cruise is going to play Iron Man. I go, no way is Tom Cruise going to destroy his career by being Iron Man. And then when they said Robert Downey Jr., I'm like, oh, I could see that. He's trying to fucking do something since he's on the outs. There was an article after the J-Law movie bombed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That there are no movie stars. There's no movie star that you can count on to draw no matter what happens.
I saw that, yeah, because I think Red Sparrow was her last, it was like her 3rd bomb in a row.
But here's the thing that's kind of interesting. Do you feel like there's comedy movie stars still, but not regular, like action movie stars, drama, the way there used to be? Because don't you think that somebody's like, oh, I think Amy Schumer's funny, or oh, I always think Will Ferrell's funny?
I don't
You know
think
what I mean?
they draw the way. I don't think Will Ferrell is consistent anymore. Sandler definitely was one, but now he's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Amy, you know, it's out whether people are going to show up. She's got this new movie. I don't think. I mean, maybe the closest you could come is The Rock, but he seems like he needs a lot of CGI.
Yeah.
To get people to come out.
And a funny sidekick.
Well, when he tried that last one with the funny sidekick, they gave him the rotten, whatever that fucking
Razzie?
award. Yeah, the Razzie Award. And he even came out, put out a video and said, yeah, that was dog shit.
Really?
Yeah, see if you can find it, Chris.
Looking for it.
Looking for it where? You're handing me paper.
Yeah, you're throwing things at me.
I got stuff about Dish and HelloFresh. You want to grab it before we go to the commercials?
Yeah.
I think he put it on his... Who's Vito talking with during the show?
I don't know who's in
What are
there.
you doing in there?
Oh, Paul just came in to say hi to me.
Okay.
Hi,
Well,
Paul.
you look like there's a problem. Is there a problem?
No, everything's fine.
A mask isn't canceled, is it?
No, the posters look great outside.
Did you get it, Chris?
Not finding it yet. Okay, I think I found it.
Yeah. Let's get it going.
It's on his Instagram.
There it is. Just go ahead and play it. We won't even bring anything up.
Oscar Sunday. I'm super pumped and very proud for my buddies who've been nominated tonight, pulling for you guys to bring home the gold. I'm also excited because I was just informed that I too am bringing home the gold tonight. No, not an Oscar, maybe one day, but a Razzie. Razzie are the annual awards given out to Hollywood's worst movies, and I have officially won one for Baywatch. But here's the cool thing. The movie was so bad, they actually had to create another category. I'm not kidding. That category, the new category is a movie so rotten you eventually fell in love with it. I'm not kidding. Which means the shit sandwich you have been eating is so bad that you eventually started to like it. Look, made Baywatch with the best of intentions. It didn't work out like that, but I humbly and graciously accept my Razzie, and I thank you critics, thank you fans, and look, at the end of the day, Movie so rotten you eventually fell in love with it. That's just the way love goes. All right, go Baywatch. Thank you for my Razzie.
Yeah, nice attitude though.
He
huh?
does. He's very personable.
Yeah, he's a very good guy.
Waiting to be annoyed by that, and I was just like, The Rock is pleasant.
He's a pleasant man.
I did see that movie though, and I don't think I ever fell in love with it.
You will.
I saw it on when it finally got to like regular cable, and I was like, "Wow, this is worse than I even imagined."
Really? I have not seen it, but now, to be honest, sometimes when I hear people talk like that, it makes me want to see something.
Well,
because then I want to be like, I want to have an opinion on that.
Look at her. Did you say hi to the alienist, or you just let him off?
I said hi.
What do you say?
He was like, hi.
Oh, thank you very much. Perhaps I can solve a murder for you if you need.
Why are you quietly and angrily whispering at me?
Something's wrong with my hand, psychosomatically. Yeah, everybody on his fucking team kind of whispers. All right, we're going to take a break here.
Yes.
Here. Right back, Bennington. It's the Bennington Show. Coming up in just a few moments, we're going to have Eddie Kramer with us. There's a new Jimi Hendrix album out. I don't know how he keeps it up. I don't know how Jimmy just keeps putting it out.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. This is going to happen with Prince next, still.
I know. And you know he wouldn't want it.
No.
He's the one dude you know would not want this.
But he should have left that. You know what I mean? He should have left that in his will. There was no will. He just let his shit go wild. Thanks. Had to get all water. Need a little bit of water during the daytime. So anyway, Eddie Kramer will be here. He is like this unbelievable engineer that did a lot of the work with Hendrix, but he also engineered Led Zeppelin, Humble Pie, who, as you know, Patti Smith's favorite band, Blue Cheer, Traffic, Frampton Comes Alive, Derek and the Dominoes, Curtis Mayfield, and he recorded the Woodstock, the album and movie, and also took those great pictures. In the middle of all that, he snaps off these great pictures of Hendrix during Woodstock with the shit all over the ground and everything. Those rock pictures, I never tire of the 60s and 70s rock pictures.
Yeah. They're kind of the best. And it's like the time that just seems the most insane. Like, I'm always fascinated with anybody who had a career in music at that time, because they start to rattle off people they worked with or people they photographed, and you're just like, well, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what you're saying is crazy.
It's like, let's see, I worked with Paul, Jesus, Judas. I did 2 albums with Judas. I mean, just these names that don't even
Do you
seem
like
real.
when they're talking about someone legendary, like they're talking about Jimi Hendrix, and they're just like, Jim was there, Jim Hendrix, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh man, that's cool. You had some sort of different name.
Yeah.
You called him.
Yeah.
You're cool.
I called him Jim for a while. We just lost a guy who designed album covers, Gary Burden. And look at the stuff that he did. There's the Eagles Desperado album, the Morrison Hotel.
Yeah, that's such a great one.
After the Gold Rush, Deja Vu, Blue. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I remember when I was a kid thinking, somebody designed this album cover that I love. Could that be a job for me? I feel like I could come up with some good album cover concepts.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the kids who got into photography because they couldn't skateboard, but they wanted to.
Yes.
Or kids who were like, I'm going to photograph bands because they couldn't play music.
I literally had all those things. Like, I love music. I'm not a musician. And I'm talking about a little kid.
Right.
Before they, squashed any fucking dreams out of me. But you're just like, well, somebody makes the album covers.
We
you know
have
what
to
I mean?
do this, yeah.
Somebody works at the studio. Who are those dudes from Rolling Stone? I feel like I could talk about this album as much as anybody. So all those things went through my head. But I don't know why we just got this one. But as you go through this, Look at
Oh,
this.
that's such a
On
great
the
one.
beach, which is a great. I always have this theory too. I want to know if there's great album covers without necessarily being a great album, because it does seem like every time you have a favorite album cover,
Right.
it's from a great album. You don't have a
You have-
favorite album cover from a shitty band.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess that I do have my mom's band T-shirt of Boston with the like with the big but I don't like that album
And in my theory, though, that's a terrible fucking album cover
because
too.
you know the album.
Well, also because what is this? Close Encounters? It just came out the same year. Stop acting like everything's Close Encounters.
But I really had to stop wearing it because people would be like, "Oh, you like Boston?" I'm like, "Well, my mom went to the show and it was."
Remember, I
don't-
just did that to somebody the other day that was wearing a Stones tour
Yeah.
shirt, and I'm like, "Oh, that's the tour," and they're like, "What?" I just wanted an old shirt. Well, fucking learn a little history, bro. You don't want to walk around wearing Nazi symbols. I always like this too because this has that. This is Jackson Brown, the Pretender, but the way he's just walking through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It looks like Midnight Cowboy or
exactly.
something. Yeah.
Exactly like Midnight Cowboy.
It's even the same, I don't know, texture or something to it. Like it actually looks like it's like a still from the movie.
Yeah, it is pretty perfect. All right, go to what's the album cover with Neil Young and that old Italian lady walking next to him after the gold rush? I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, well, Chris did something very interesting. Here's the album, right?
Uh-huh.
But look at this. That's Graham Nash standing right there as the picture. The picture
wow.
that Chris brought up was the wrong picture. Click right there. That's the album cover, which is one of my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
And this was snapped as he was walking to probably, I think, a Crosby, Stills, and Nash gig at Madison Square Garden, right? So you see that's one of the most iconic albums of all time. You could go over, people get their picture taken that way all the time, and they're just standing next to each other. Go back there. This is the uncropped picture. And there's Graham Nash just watching the shoot because he's a photographer himself.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I hadn't seen that for years and years and years. And then weirdly, Chris just now brought it up.
Oh, that's so cool though.
I know, I kind of like this better now.
Yeah, because I like the way he's looking at him.
Yeah,
the way he's it's like.
No, it wasn't planned with this little Italian lady either. She just happened to be walking the other direction. And they were just walking Neil back and forth with the brick wall and this thing up front.
Yeah, but it's so perfect with her there.
It's
and the way on the
unbelievable.
actual cover too, the way they use the colors, it's like she's coming out of the back of him, it's like two
Quattro.
Yeah.
She's doing a Quattro scene. But I like it even better with Graham standing there. All the time we've had Graham in, I would have brought that up.
Yeah.
Because I know that he loves photography. All right, Eddie Kramer coming up in just a little bit. As I said, he was the engineer on all this amazing 1960s and 70s stuff. And that stuff is always just the weirdest thing of how you find that exact sound. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, first of all, we were talking about when being a musician or being a singer is out of the realm of your possibilities, but that kind of stuff is when somebody has that ability, that's otherworldly to me.
Right. And most producers don't have that ability. Most producers, just like having a cinematographer, they hire that great engineer. But if you think of going back to film, if you think of all your favorite Woody Allen movies,
yeah,
the ones that you pick are the beautiful ones.
Right, exactly.
More than even the hilarious ones.
Right.
So I kind of feel like engineering is the same exact way.
Because you kind of have to have two minds of yourself. You've got to have both creative and technical.
Right.
When you're doing it with when you're doing something technical in a creative industry, you have to have two brains.
And a director of photography, there is there's less of them that go on to become directors than actors or screenwriters.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? You would think the guy who could do that, get those shots, would have a big jump ahead. But a lot of times they're just I don't know what the movie was about. He told me it was something. I was looking for a tone for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't know if they even pay attention to whether or not the actor
Yeah.
is doing well. They're like, oh, this is perfect lighting.
Well, even I mean, this is not cinematography, but this just goes to show you, like, when somebody has like that specific job. I met this woman who was like, I don't know how you would say it, like almost like a hat master, like of the props, like
right.
specifically from costumes on the Nucky show, whatever that
Boardwalk
was.
Empire.
Yeah. You guys both got it. I didn't know it was a race.
Yeah, me neither.
Boardwalk Empire.
Thought we were in a conversation.
Because I brought up, I was like, oh yeah, I've been watching. And she's like, I have trouble watching the show because all I pay attention to is the hats. Like, she just sits there and is like, she's like, it's terrible to say this, but I couldn't, when people start to talk to me about the plot or, in this part with this character, and she's like, kind of, but I can tell you about the cloche hat she was wearing in that scene because she's so specific. So when she's just watching the episode, she's like, that looks a little off. I don't know.
There are times like there are people that just have to worry about, like, on the pickups, is everybody the exact same spot? Is the cigarette where it was?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's why I would never want to be in that industry.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry about that.
That like script supervisor job where they're just like matching exactly where you were the last moment. Yeah. Those kind of details.
Or even when they go back and forth and there's like, you can see that the guy on the other side is like, has one expression, but when they go to his close up, the expression is different. And you're just like, oh, fuck, I'm watching a movie. I'm just watching a movie right now. We were talking about all these things. I still think Hendrix is the weirdest thing to pop up in the history of American music. The fact that he went over to England to do it, and nothing ever sounded like that. And if you were doing... he's been dead we're coming up on 50 years in a couple of years, like 40, 47, 48 years or something that he's been dead. If we did a list tomorrow, everybody's picking him as the best guitar player of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was fairly early, 10 years into the rock and roll thing. By the time he did his solo work, he even did work before that. But in all that time since, no one has said, oh, there's a guy I think is better than Hendrix.
Because he is like firing on all cylinders as far as like what made him so iconic. Because he was such a great technical guitar player, but he had that just like amazing style and he was beautiful and like his sound was unlike anything else. Like he was like
everybody since can go, oh, there's the Hendrix sound. I'll start there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But where did he fucking start?
I don't know. Where did that come from?
I always loved too, like, just to hear him play like Wild Thing or something is a song that one way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the Hendrix cover is just so crazy. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, Eddie Kramer and someone else is going to be with him, Chris?
Yes, the co-producer of Both Sides of the Sky, John McDermott.
Okay. I was at Lexington Candy Shop yesterday. Major rock star came in. Major rock god.
Who?
Donald Fagen.
Holy shit. And real Donald Fagen, not like when Chris thinks he sees him on the street.
But by the way, the guy, the Chris, that looks nothing like Donald Fagen, but just waltzed into the place, sat at a booth by himself. Nobody in the joint recognized him.
Really?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, I was there the day before with your aunt, and Tony Roberts came in from the Woody Allen movies.
Really?
He was the one who was Max.
Yeah.
Max, you got to move to California. So she was excited about it. And then the next day I got excited because Donald Fagen came in.
Man, that's crazy.
Then I did that thing while I had him on the show 4 or 5 times. Should I go over and say hi? And I'm like, no. Let Donald Fagen be cool, Donald Fagen, and eat. Why is it that it's cooler seeing somebody coming in a restaurant than in our studio, though?
It is, for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess it's just that it's unexpected and you're just seeing them in their
Can I
life.
tell you something? John McDermott is coming in unexpected, and yet I'm not freaking out over it. Who's doing the booking now?
That's Vito.
Shouldn't I know these things?
Yes, you should.
So there was a thing at it tomorrow, too. Vito again?
That was me.
Okay.
That shouldn't have been me, but it was me.
All you guys are like matadors, and I'm the bull, and you're just sticking knives into me until suddenly I'm so weakened.
Can I be someone just in the audience disgusted at their behavior?
Oh, I
But
like
I
that.
can't help
Somebody
it.
from PETA. Somebody from
Stop
PETA.
it! It's a living thing.
I'm sure you got a couple knives in me too, and I wasn't looking. You and Jen come over and put them in my hooves. You can't get up as high on the back as those two big bastards. Where's Vito at right now?
He's, I think he's by the phones.
Okay. Vito, swing over here so I can see you. Fucker! Fucker! You letting Chris do your work for you now, huh?
No, that was one thing that came in specifically through him.
Oh, so he's saying just the opposite.
The
He said that he leaped in at the last second.
No, that was the thing that Liam went to you for because you knew them more than I did.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't. You can't let yourself get handled that way. You're a fucking man, okay?
I am a man.
No, you're not. Just we might be starting from this point on. Your hair looks great, though. You look like a rock dog.
You do.
I've been putting baby powder in my hair at night.
I don't want to know any details like that, okay? I'm not your fucking beautician. I'm a man. Let me tell you something. I have the rights, and I didn't even want to bring this up on the air, and I shouldn't, but I have the rights to the Lowell George story, and I just feel like you would be perfect.
I'm up for any project.
You know who Lowell is?
No.
Okay. I live with fucking people who, look, now he's trying to fucking type it. I hate the way your generation, just like you're talking to them about something, look at me, and they just start typing to try to catch up. You know who Eddie Kramer is?
Yes, I know who Eddie Kramer is.
Why?
Because he's coming on the show today.
Oh, God. He's not even giving fun answers.
By the way, I think he Googled Lowell George as LOL George. He thinks it's a meme, I think.
Actually, you're fucking around, but that could be great for the title for the movie. You know, get some of the kids into it. And he was a funny guy. He was fun to be around. I mean, if you're not giggling during Fat Man in the Bathtub, I don't think you're getting it. What are your fingers all over that board for, Chris?
Well, Eddie Kramer and John McDermott are coming in a moment.
And that means what to me?
We'll play the music. I'll turn the mics off.
I thought we were going to break first.
Oh no, we're not. We're going directly into it.
We're going directly into this.
Yes, they're coming in right now. Yeah.
This is quite the change again, Vito.
Yeah, I'm mixing everything up on this one.
Did you have these guys? These are your babies?
Yeah, these are mine.
How'd you not know John McDermott was part of the deal?
I didn't know. It was a last minute addition, but the more the merrier.
How long do you wait to call your babies?
You know what's really great is that a guy that used to be the PD of this station, and I don't know, the head of comedy, whatever they call themselves around here, John McDermott. So when I look down and see that, I go, why is he fucking back here?
Different one.
Different one. He yells.
Different
Yes,
one.
we know.
Different
dude.
one, Rod.
You got to stop being so on the nose, Lowell. I'm going to call you Lowell because I want you to just be, what?
Call me Vito.
So you don't want the part?
I want the part, but I want to live my own life separate from the part.
Tell that to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Fuck, good
You're
point.
out, dude.
No.
You're out.
I'll take it.
You don't look like Lowell George.
I could get prosthetics.
There's no prosthetics needed. You'd have to lose
hair
an
length.
amazing amount of weight to play Lowell George.
It's tough, but
I don't think anyone calls wigs prosthetics. It's the hair that was the
Your
point
hair
of
is
this.
fucking greasy.
Oh, it's very,
All right?
yeah.
We got to get you baby powder up like that fucking little effeminate fucking monster over there.
Fembot.
You are an odd fembot.
I'll take that part.
All right. So, I'm breaking here, Chris, or what am I
No.
doing?
Eddie Kramer and John McDermott are about to come in.
All right, again, Eddie, there's a ton, I don't know how they keep finding it, of this Hendrix stuff. I think this is the third that these guys have done, but this has been, these things have been out like since 1970. Both sides of the sky, it's available now in stores and online. And let's bring in Eddie Kramer and John McDermott. The new album is Both Sides of the Sky. Eddie Kramer, who is here with us, and also John McDermott. Good to see you guys. It's always fascinating to know that there are tapes of Jimi Hendrix that occasionally you guys bring out. How does that happen, John?
Well, it's the unique circumstances of Jimmy's life and career at the time when he became famous, unfortunately, when he was a sideman, an unknown sideman prior to his fame. He had signed what he thought was a release. It was actually a contract, came back to haunt him. So while they were litigating that, Jimmy kept recording and recording and recording. And then, of course, as his success grew, he bought his own recording studio and continued to keep recording and recording. So they settled that litigation by putting out the Band of Gypsies album. But then, sadly, Jimmy died in September of 1970, so all of these studio recordings did not come out until after his death.
Now, Eddie, you've engineered and produced a lot of stuff for Jimmy as well as other people, right? What was it like when you first met him? What was the feeling? Because there wasn't anybody doing that before Jimi Hendrix.
Yes, I became aware of Jimi Hendrix when I was a young punk engineer in London in the 1960s. And I was working at a studio called Olympic, which became quite famous, having recorded not only Jimmy, but Stones and Beatles, etc., etc. So we were all aware of who Jimi Hendrix was because he had come to England in the late 60s, 66, and put out their record, Hey Joe, of course, jumped right in the charts, and all of a sudden Jimmy's a big star. But I know for a fact that Jimmy and Chas Chandler, who was his producer at the time, were very unhappy with the studios that they were working in. And they'd heard about Olympic, and in January of 67, I got the call from the studio manager who said, you should record Jimi Hendrix. And there I am as this young engineer, and the amps are arriving in the studio, and there's Jimmy sitting in the corner really quietly. And they finally got all the amps set up, and I put mics on the drums and the guitar and the bass. And then Jimmy plugs in, turns on the amp, and I'd never heard anything quite like it. It scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. And that was the start. You guys worked together for a lot. And you continue to work with other bands.
Oh, yes, many other bands. But Jimmy was the main man. He was the king and the prince of everything, as far as I'm concerned. The greatest guitar player ever.
Now, I see some of these, you've got Stephen Stills on the album. You've got Johnny Winter on the album, Lonnie Youngblood. So how does that come together? Is that like a jam, or were they actually planning on doing stuff together?
It's interesting. I think Jimmy was somebody who enjoyed having his friends come in and play with him. And I think particularly as he became successful, he reached back to somebody like Lonnie Youngblood, who he'd played with as an R&B sideman.
Right.
And so it was a great opportunity to say, hey, come on in. You know, in the old days, they wouldn't let us in. Now I can bring you in. And so I think that was important to him. Guys like Stephen Stills, Johnny Winter, that grew out of him loving to jam at the Scene Club right around the corner from the record plant. So, you know, if you think about Electric Ladyland and Voodoo Child, the great long blues that's on there, that's the exact same circumstance. He went there, brought back Steve Winwood and Jack Cassidy, and, you know, recorded one of his greatest songs. So that idea of trying to capture the spontaneity that he loved, you know, and the improvisation that he loved, he did it routinely, just trying to make sure that, hey, if we do this and it's great, I got it on tape.
Well, that had to put pressure on you, right, Freddie? I mean, here you are, you're this young engineer, but this stuff has to be captured. This stuff has to, and it has to sound the way that Hendrix sounds, which is a difficult thing to pull off.
Well, I was very fortunate at that time. I was working at the record plant. I'd come from England to America to actually follow Jimmy, to continue working with him. And we worked on Electric Ladyland during 1968. And very fortunately, every night that we were trying to record, inevitably Jimmy would be round the corner at the Scene Club, figuring out which musicians we could tap into to bring over to the record plant later on. So we're there 8 o'clock. We're getting everything set up, the drums and the bass, and getting all my sounds together. And we're waiting. Midnight, he comes rolling in, dragging in with him Steve Winwood, Jack Cassidy, and about 15 hangers-on.
Right.
And one rehearsal, one take, Jimi Hendrix is singing live in the studio, and that is captured exactly as he stood there. It was the perfect storm. It was wonderful.
And that's what you're looking for as an engineer, the perfect storm.
Exactly.
And that's the work that you're doing with the mics all the time, because you have to mic people differently, correct?
Well, recording Jimmy live in the studio is a little bit of a trick. You have to make sure that there's enough separation, but at the same time, he has to be able to hear everybody. I think the record plant was a very good studio for its day. And when you hear the roar of that amp coming up behind him, it's just one of those marvelous visceral experiences, and it's translated right on the record. Those opening notes, you can hear the reverberation in the room, and I think that's a key part of how gorgeous that sounds.
So when that's happening, it's just goosebumps for you.
Oh,
You're just
total goosebumps.
Yeah,
hair straight up on the back of the head.
Yeah. And had you had that kind of connection with anybody else in your career? Because you work with so many great people.
Yes, there are times when that has happened, and hopefully it still continues to happen. But Hendrix was very special. There was nobody I've ever recorded had quite that amount of magnetism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. The album is Both Sides of the Sky. And I'm going to ask you, John, how do you figure out when to release these things? Because, I mean, obviously, this stuff has been around for many, many years. And you release every, 5-10 years?
Well, it depends. You know, when in the middle 90s, Jimmy's father started litigation to reclaim control of the library and asked us to come in and to work with the family to create these albums and share his music with the world. So what Eddie and I and Janie Hendrix started doing was going through literally every tape and starting to make a plan. Now, in a perfect world, all of the tapes, you know, like at a record company or EMI or Abbey Road, all the Beatles tapes are locked up. Well, with Hendrix, we had to go solve 100 problems and reclaim all of these things. And so
they just went home with people. Somebody took them home.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so you also had people that over the years had legal issues and you had to solve them. And it was a process of recovery. And then from there, we started to plot out what we wanted to do. And I think with these 3 records, and the last being Both Sides of the Sky, what we tried to do is to say, okay, post Electric Ladyland, let's show Jimmy's fans some of the avenues where he was going, some of the ideas. Nothing articulates Hendrix better than Hendrix. So if we do our job and put it forward, tell you when it was recorded, why it's important, then the fan makes that unique kind of emotional connection to Jimi Hendrix, which I don't know that many artists have with their audience, but certainly Jimi Hendrix does.
So where do you guys think he was heading? Was he going to play with Miles Davis? Was it going to be something more pop? I mean, we sit around, we play those games in our heads all the time.
Think about this. You know, Jimmy was a guy who had been denied the opportunity to record, to express his ideas. I mean, he was a struggling sideman with nothing. Chas Chandler brings him to England, gives him the gift of opportunity. He never looks back. He doesn't buy a Graceland. He doesn't have 100 cars. He buys a recording studio. Right. So, you know, if you think about Electric Lady, right at the time of his death, the next major client that they have in there is Stevie Wonder. So you can't imagine Jimmy and Stevie Wonder being in the same building and not collaborating.
Right.
So I think all of those examples that you cited are absolutely there. I also think that as Jimmy continued to evolve, I think some of his kind of idols would have, the openness to be able to record with the Muddy Waters would have presented itself. I mean, certainly Miles Davis, but Jimmy loved the blues. So to be with, you know, Howling Wolf or somebody like that, I mean, Buddy Guy, I think he would have dug being able to do any of that, both as a writer, producer, and certainly as a guitar player.
And then maybe even an Eddie Van Halen and all the people that came behind him.
Without question.
Yeah, because he didn't have that kind of star ego, I think, because it was music first, right? Is that what you felt, Eddie?
Well, I think every artist has ego. That Jimmy certainly has his very big fair share of ego, but he was not super flashy in his private life. He was on stage. He was
right.
I mean, I think that's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. And Jimmy in person was very shy. And in fact, we were talking about Buddy Miles and Jimmy and how close they were in the latter stages with the Band of Gypsies. I remember many times Buddy sitting in the chair here and then Jimmy here, and buddy used to wind Jimmy up something horrible, and Jimmy would laugh. But because he was so shy, he would always put his hand in front of his mouth and go tee hee hee like that. So, you know, the private guy was very reserved. On stage, different thing altogether.
That also reminds me of Prince, who had a Hendrix thing, you know, that you would thought if Prince would have got a chance to play with Hendrix. I mean, that's the thing that I guess is the biggest regret, right? I mean, there's a regret for you. It's a personal regret because you knew the man, you loved the man, but to know and that we've just lost decades of art, decades and decades of American art. It's hard to even let that in.
It's very true, because I think if you think about the influence that he made in what was effectively 4 years.
Yes.
And here we are today, people still getting very excited about hearing some more examples of hints of where it was going. You can't, whether it's Steve Winwood or Prince or Stevie Ray Vaughan or anybody, any artist that kind of he had some kind of kinship with or he wanted to connect with, I think by that point in his life and career, he would have wanted to do any of that. I mean, he was that kind of artist that would have had the ability to connect with somebody and say, come into my studio. This is my creative space. Let's work together. And that's the tragedy.
Going over some of these track listings on both sides of the sky, Georgia Blues just jumps out. And is that one, Eddie, that you worked on that one, or is that one that you found
obviously I mixed the whole lot, but that was one track. I don't think I was around for that one.
Yeah.
I was busier than a one-arm paper hanger in '69.
Right.
I was building the studio for Jimmy. And recording Zeppelin and did Woodstock. And so I wasn't always available to do all these tracks. I did some of them, but not all of them.
You were with Jimmy at Woodstock?
I recorded all of Woodstock, yes, for my sins.
And but then you also were doing photography there at the same time. You took that picture of Jimmy.
There was a very brief moment where I had my camera and I said, and we were about halfway through the set, and I said, guys, just watch the levels very carefully. Everything was set up. It was all going nicely. I said, I'm going to run out for about 2 minutes. And I ran to the side of the stage, grabbed, just went, and then ran back to the truck. And that's how I got those shots.
And that's the only time that you took any pictures at Woodstock over that?
That was about it,
Phenomenal. And that had to be, again, that's one of those things that everybody holds on with Hendrix. Hendrix at Woodstock. When you really think about it, Hendrix at Monterey, it was always these weird, bizarre shows that were filmed as well as recorded.
Well, I think what's interesting about Ron is that he was ahead of his audience. And that's interesting because he was purely about moving forward. His agenda was really what he wanted to do. So when the Monterey Pop film came out and him burning the guitar was a sensation, but that was a year later. In Hendrix's world, he was miles ahead of that. The example you raised of Woodstock, that was an enormous film. That film was a huge hit. But Jimmy had been playing the Star Spangled Banner for almost 2 years at that point. So yes, there was a whole group of people that were seeing it for the first time and really being impacted by it. And I think that's the interesting thing about Jimmy. That's why there's still mystery attached to him, because he wasn't a guy who was in the moment selling what he was doing, trying to build his celebrity. There was none of that going on. Even in the very few times he appeared on television, Dick Cavett Show, Tonight Show, he played songs that weren't even on his album. But they were brand new things that he was doing. Like, this is where I am right now. I'm going to share with you where I am right now. So it's just, he was a different guy, a different thinker. And, you don't know whether that was a component of him being so kind of not having the ability to create music. And then finally, once he had the chance, he just wasn't going to stop. He was just going to keep going. So.
And if he heard a song that he loved, he started playing that song.
Yes,
immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob Dylan was a hero for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember looking in Jimmy's flight bag that he carried all the time with him, and rolled up really tight, about like this size, was the Bob Dylan songbook. I mean, he adored the song structure and the melodies and particularly the lyrics of Dylan. And then once he did All Along the Watchtower, it became his. And of course, Dylan today plays it the same way Hendrix does it.
Yes. And certainly the most popular recording of a Dylan, certainly the most
Iconic,
the
sure,
iconic
yeah.
cover of any Dylan song. And then after that, people were like, "Oh, how do I make a Dylan song mine? You know what I mean? How do I not try to do an impression of Bob Dylan, but to be inspired by it?" Both Sides of the Sky is out, and this is. Would you say most of this stuff was just recorded to jam, to have fun with, or was this stuff that he was thinking about?
Well, I think it's all thinking about it. I think the jamming aspect is a part of the strategy for those particular recordings. But I think all of these may have. No one knows what Jimmy himself would have done. You know, we can't think for him. I mean, this was his mission, his path. But I think, you know, these are things that clearly he was spending a lot of time working on. You know, whether it's Stepping Stone, he did multiple versions of that. Loverman, multiple versions. Original Experience, Band of Gypsies, the Reformed Experience with Billy Cox and Mitch Mitchell. He was just, saying, okay, not there yet, not there. Maybe do it differently. I can do more. So that process.
You take a year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or more.
It was ongoing for him. So in some ways, these showcase that development, the arc of the story, if you will, to get from the start to the finish. But I just think it was his unique approach to composing. He just, like a writer doing multiple drafts of a manuscript, he just would do that because he wasn't a professionally trained musician, but clearly, the guitar was in his hands all the time.
So this is really like finding an artist's sketch pad and not even saying like, okay, this may not be where the painting would have ended up, but it's what we have. And
that's certainly a part of it.
Yeah. I find it fascinating, Eddie, that your life and times, you know what I mean? You got to work with so many of the greats. And did that occur to you at the time, or was it just business? You're working with Traffic, you're working with Zeppelin, you're working with Jimmy. You didn't know that this stuff was going to live on for 50 years, or did you?
Certainly not with Jimmy, not in the beginning, no. That only occurred to me much later on, because I've said this before, as a young engineer trying to make it, you're too busy trying to make sure that you get everything on tape and try to figure out what is it that the artist wants, because I learned that lesson very early on. Satisfy the artist first. Get the sounds quickly, and then if you've got the time now, you can experiment. And fortunately, Jimmy had a producer in the very beginning with Chaz Chandler who said a wonderful thing to us, said, "The rules are, there are no rules." And we said, shit, hey, we can now go and experiment. And we just went wild with crazy stuff, with phasing, with panning and EQ and compression. We didn't have much to go with. It's not like today where you have 1,000 plugins you can use.
Right.
But it gave us the freedom to be more creative.
And your limitations kind of worked in that for you as well, right? Because I think that's one of the problems that we have with music now. Without those limitations, how do you find genius,
That's a very good question. I ask myself that question every day. When I look at a sheet of what I'm being presented with from a band, and it's got 120 tracks. Okay, guys, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Let's just compact that down to maybe 24 we could live with. Do you think?
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping in. It's Both Sides of the Sky, and if there's anything that we could all sit around and think about, is it's great creativity and genius, and to know that we had this, even if it was just a short time. And, these things exist for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.